everyone, I'm NornQueenAlexis and welcome back to the channel and welcome to this Space Marine Codex review. Yeah, here it is, the brand new Codex. So, there is a lot to this Codex, A good chunk of it is unnecessary and a good chunk of it is like 200 pages of kind of nothing. But that's kind of the Space Marine motif, isn't it? Just 200 pages of doing literally nothing before we get into the juicy rules. So, brand new Codex. I have mine all tailored out. You can see all of the tabs on the side to separate all the different rules. Now, I highly suggest that everybody do this. This will help you with any Codex and any book forever. I do this to literally every GW book at this point. I do it even to the Rogue Trader books and the RPG books. The rule book, all of my codexes have these. So it's actually it's a really good idea. So on page 90 is when the rules actually start beginning. And yeah, before that, there's a lot of retconned lore. A lot of lore that's just thrown into here for no apparent reason. And a lot of, Firstborn stuff that's thrown into here. Also, some really cool things about chapters we never really get to see. So I do want to go over that. I think it's really cool that there's... Hang on, let me just find them real quick. Because there's this whole successor company thing. Successor chapter thing that I really think is worth talking about real quick when going over this. Here it is. Yeah. They talk about all the Ultramarine successors, all the Hawk Lords, all the Imperial Fists successors, all the Blood Angel successors, the White Scars, the Raven Guard. They're all in here. And I think it's really cool that they are in here. And yeah, I am impressed that they remembered some of these. Like the Praxis Marines. No one remembers those guys. So they have every chapter in here, just about all the big chapters and everything. So it's really cool to actually just dive into this book and really see what we have going on in the new Codex and going into 9th edition and what we can expect. Okay, sorry, I'm just reading the chat as it goes because you will see the chat appear right over here as people say things. So yeah. So one of the big things I need to point out is this. This page right here is broken down into an actual reference page. Now this is a different reference page than what's at the front of the book and what's at the back of the book. And I think this reference page is actually super important to like every codex from now on. I want all of the codexes to have this going into the future. Black Templars still can't run Psychers? No, they can't. Although, funny enough, last edition, if you took a successor chapter and named it Black Templar, but it wasn't Black Templars, which I know is weird. You could take Black Templar librarians in a Black Templar army, but it wasn't part of a Black Templar army. Really confusing wording that they fixed in this edition. So they go into the Battleforged Rules, and I think I'm just going to start reading some of these rules because they get crazy really quickly. So, Battleforged, detachment abilities. Units in the Space Marine detachments gain additional abilities to better reflect how Space Marine armies operate together and wage war on the battlefield, including chapter tactics described individual fighting styles of the different Space Marine chapters. You can find out more about the detachment and abilities in the Battleforged Army section of the Warhammer 40k rulebook. So, it references the rulebook and really doesn't do too much there. Then we have Chapter Command, which is on page 98 to 101. Certain character models in your Space Marine army can be upgraded to be part of the Chapter Command. In being so, these higher ranked officials gain different powers and abilities. So this would be like your Master of Sanctuary, your Chapter Master, and all sorts of different things. No longer is it command points to do this, it's actually just a point cost to do it. Like, you literally pay, I think, like 30 extra, 40 extra points so that you can run a Chapter Master, which everyone is going to do anyway. So, yeah. And then they list out where the stratagems are. I have a tab for it, so we're going to find that really quickly. Is the Codex worth the price increase? Yeah, this Codex is over 200 pages. I think it's worth it. Some of the smaller codexes, but overall, since they're not being printed in China anymore, I think they're worth it. At least I don't think they're being printed in China anymore. So I think they definitely are worth it, without a doubt. Okay. So then it goes into the army rules, which is the Warlord Traits, the Relics, the Librarian Disciplines, the Obscuration Disciplines, the Litanies of Battle, and we'll get all into that in just a second. We're still on page 91, just so you guys can keep along at home if you do have the Codex, or if you are, well, if you got an advanced copy of the Codex. Match play rules and crusade rules are also in this book in 2 separate categories, which I really like. Match play rules are pretty much what everybody's going to be using. So, yeah. Crusade rules are actually incredibly fun, and I really do want to run some crusades. Especially with my Sisters of Battle. Not so much my Space Marines, because I find them a bit dull to play over and over again. But my Sisters of Battle, I can play those every day. Oh, why is my voice so crappy today? I do apologize. A moose once bit my sister. Okay. So then it goes into the war gear section, which takes place on page 195 to 201. The point values, which I want to get into, the point values are so good in this book, and they're broken down so perfectly, and I think that every codex should do this from now on. And then it has a rules reference page, which, again, everybody wanted. I don't know why GW got rid of it when they switched over from, like, 5th to 6th edition, but now they're back. So, again, this is what we're looking at right now. And let's get into this. So this goes, the next section here goes into combat patrol and detachment abilities. It's pretty interesting, and one thing I do want to point out, and one thing I really want to point out, detachment abilities. An Adeptus Astartes detachment is one of the only included, is one that only includes models with the Adeptus Astartes keywords, excluding models of agents of the Imperium or unaligned, meaning you can take a Zote in your Space Marine army without losing your Space Marine chapter tactics. So keep that in mind. You can also take an agent of the Imperium, such as an Inquisitor or an Imperial Assassin, without losing your chapter abilities. Okay? Adeptus Astartes detachments gain the company command ability. Adeptus Astartes units in Adeptus Astartes detachments gain the chapter tactics ability. Troop units in the Adeptus Astartes detachment gain the objective secured ability, as seen in the core rulebook. All pretty interesting stuff. Pretty basic, to be honest. Now, here's something that's really cool, a brand new ability that is going to shape the way that you play 40k as 9th edition Space Marines. Company Command. You can only include a maximum of 1 captain model and 2 lieutenants in each detachment of your army. So no longer will you be able to include 3 captains in 1 detachment. You'll now have to spread them out along your detachments. And since 9th edition is very 1 detachment heavy, we're probably only going to see 1 captain, which I think is really cool. It also says captain. Very important here, because in the later section of this book, we will find out that captain is the actual trait, like is the actual word, and then it's captain in Phobos armor, captain on bike, captain blah blah blah. So we will see that in later parts of this book as we go over it. I am sorry about drinking on camera, drinking water on camera, I should say. My throat is dry. I apologize. So, moving on from there, I really think it's interesting that it's only 1 captain, 2 lieutenants, but librarians are perfectly fine to be run as 3s, same with chaplains and things of that nature. So, just interesting little side notes. Chapter tactics. All Adeptus Astartes units, other than servitors and beast units, which is kind of interesting to think of Adeptus Astartes with beasts. Get it? Because, you know, it's those space wolves. Space wolves? Huh? Yeah. Anyway. Adeptus Astartes units other than servitors and beast units with this ability, and all the models in them gain the chapter tactics so long as every unit in the detachment is from the same chapter. These tactics gained depend upon the chapter from which they are from, as shown on the following pages. Example, an ultramarine unit with this chapter tactic will gain the following chapter Codex discipline tactic. If your chapter does not have an associated chapter tactic, you must instead select one of the successor chapter traits as described on page 96. This allows you to customize the rules for your successor chapter. In either case, write down all your chapter detachment, chapter tactics, successor chapters in your army roster. So this thing means like things like the Star Phantoms, which actually have Forge World rules at last edition, now don't. So you have to run them with chapter successor tactics, which means that they might have unique warlord traits that are not present in this codex that they still gain, but they have to use a successor chapter trait. So if you're running Blood Ravens, for instance, you may want to take up some more psychic abilities and psychic disciplines in order to really catch the whole goal of what the Blood Ravens are. There we go. So moving over, we got the chapter tactics. So this is on page 94, I believe. Yeah, wow, I guessed. 94. And this has the Dark Angels, the White Scars, the Space Wolves, the Imperial Fists, the Crimson Fists, the Black Templar, the Blood Angels, the the Flesh Terrors, the Iron Hands, the Ultramarines, the Salamanders, the Raven Guard, and the Deathwatch, which the Deathwatch actually took a significant nerf, and we'll get into that. New to the channel, love your content. Question, are you spooked out for Halloween, or are you goth? I'm assuming is what you're saying. And no, I'm punk goth, so that's kind of always been my thing. Okay, so Dark Angels, Grim Resolve. Each time a model with this tactic makes an attack, unless that model unit has moved this turn, excluding pile-in and consolidation moves, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. Now, this actually affects close combat as well, which is kind of interesting. So if you just stand still, you get to punch things at +1 to hit. So yeah. Because it's not ranged, it's just attack rolls. So I'm really excited about that. I want to try a close combat Blood Angel army. Or Dark Angel army. Each time a combat attrition test is taken for a unit with this tactic, it is automatically passed. So Dark Angels can take very large units of Marines without ever having to worry about morale. And I can tell you right now, morale, after playing like 10 games, morale is actually important this edition, and I was surprised. Then we go on to White Scars, because these are in non-alphabetical order, which really annoys me, and they should be in alphabetical order, because that would make more sense, but whatever. Lightning Assault. Units with this tactic are eligible to declare a charge with a unit this turn which they advanced or fell back. This includes their bikes, their tanks, oh my god, all of their stuff. Like, their dreadnoughts can run and charge. I don't know why you wouldn't take bikes with them. Their bikes are going to run and charge. A whole bunch of things are going to run and charge, and it's going to get crazy very fast. I still like the idea that the repulsor could run, get across the field, and declare a charge, and the next turn disgorge its units. Just think it's insane. Models with this tactic do not suffer the penalty incurred to their hit rolls for firing assault weapons in the same turns in which these units advanced. So different wording, but pretty much the same chapter tactic. It's the same as the Dark Angels, except the Dark Angels now hit better in close combat. So that's kind of really good. When will the next giveaway be? The next giveaway is going to be shortly after this video in my Discord. So I do apologize, I've been away for a week. My bad. So Space Wolves, Hunters Unleashed. Each time a model with this tactic makes a melee attack, if that model's unit made a charge move, was charged, or performed a heroic intervention this turn, add 1 to the attack roll. So extremely good. These ones are on the attack, they hit better, they hit on 2+, which is kind of insane. I really like that. Units with this tactic are eligible to perform heroic interventions as though they were characters. Now, this is, again, really, 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 really big. Like, really big. They are the perfect counter-assault army in 40k, and I think it's absolutely incredible. Space Wolves are probably going to be one of the best units, best armies, in my opinion, and I'm really excited for them. Also, if you guys can hear my AC, I do apologize. It is over 103 degrees outside, so yeah. Now let's take a look at the chat. Anyone know how exactly why the Grey Knights haven't been included in this general codex? It's because they're more of a unique army, but so is the Deathwatch, so I really don't have a good answer to that. White Scars are the Imperial version of Khorne, maybe? No, more like Slaanesh, because they can run and charge just like Slaanesh demons. All the Space Marines in the codex, or do some get shafted again? Yeah, some do get shafted, like the Grey Knights. Stern Guard and Veteran, the only units DA can't get. Is that true? I believe so. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so I'm going to continue with this. Imperial Fists. Now, here's the thing about Imperial Fists. I love their tactics. I always have in the codex itself, not in the actual lore, because they suck. Like, they're literally one of the worst chapters, and they always pick them as the whipping boy for other companies and other armies to make them seem like they're way more badass than they actually are. But in truth, like, they're kind of garbage, like hot garbage. But on tabletop, they're really good. Each time a model with this tactic makes a ranged attack, that target does not receive the benefits of light cover against their attack, but still dense cover. So that's extremely important. So they don't get the minus. You don't get the -1 to. You don't get the +1. I believe is light cover, or it's -1. I'd have to check my rulebook real quick, but I can't remember which one it is. But I know that it doesn't affect dense cover, which is important. Each time a model with this tactic makes an attack with a bolt weapon, see page 195, and they do go over what a bolt weapon actually is, which I personally love, because it goes into detail about it. An unmodified hit roll of a 6 scores 1 additional hit. You do not need to roll for that hit, you just get the hit. Okay? That's it. Moving on to Crimson Fist, each time a model with this tactic makes a ranged attack against a unit that contains at least 5 models, 5 models that the attacker's unit, 5 models more than the attacking unit was selected to shoot, add 1 to the attacker's hit roll. For the purpose of this tactic, vehicle models are counted as having 5 models. Each time a model with this tactic makes an attack with a bolt weapon, an unmodified roll of a 6 scores an additional hit. So if you know you're going to be outnumbered, Crimson Fists are kind of the way to go. If you know your opponent's bringing Swarm, go Crimson Fist. Also, thank you for the donation. You're awesome and I love you. Izmir or Primers Reavers are cheap Imperial rip-offs from Howling Banshees. Masks, pistols, and giant blades that cause terror. Are they any good anyway? I don't think they're good, to be honest. That's just me. That is strictly just me. Okay, Black Templar. You can reroll advanced rolls and charge rolls for models with this tactic. Each time a model with this tactic would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, roll a d6 on a 5+, that wound is not lost. Black Templar suck. Moving on. They're like the weak assault army. They're just kind of garbage. And I feel bad for Black Templar players because I know they're an extremely popular army. It's just that they're kind of terrible. Like, at best you can deep strike in with them and then reroll the charge distance. You're not going to make it though. Thank you for the subscription. So, yeah, it's going to be very, very, very weird. I don't know if I like it or not. Let's go ahead and turn this off. There we go. Blood Angels, Red Thirst. Add 1 to the advance rolls and charge rolls made for units with this tactic. Each time a model with this tactic makes a melee attack, if that model's unit made a charge move, was charged, or performed a heroic intervention that turn, add 1 to the wound roll. So no longer do they add 1 all the time, they now just add it on turns that they charged, or were charged, or performed a heroic intervention. So this is the much better, way better, close combat army. Like, if you're going to run Black Templar, strictly use the Blood Angel rules. You'll enjoy your life a bit better. Grey Knights not being included in the General Marine Codex kind of makes sense. They are like Secret Order, right? Well, so are the Deathwatch, and a whole bunch of chapters of Space Marines. I've heard that Dreadnoughts automatically have the 1 wound total now, if that applies. Okay. I love these tactics so much. Crimson Fist getting some love makes my nostalgia warm and fuzzy. Oh, that's cute. Alright, so let's move on. We have the Flesh Terrors, Fury Within. Each time a model with this tactic makes a melee attack. If a model in this unit makes a melee attack, if this model's unit made a charge move, was charged, performed a heroic intervention, add 1 to that attack's wound roll, which is the same as the Blood Angels. An unmodified wound roll of a 6 improves the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. This is cumulative with the bonus from the Assault Doctrine if it is active for your army. Damn. Your chainswords have AP -2. That's really good. I heard Deathwatch don't get special issue ammunition anymore. Nope, that's gone. Okay. Ultramarines. This is what I've been playing recently, and I really like them. Add 1 to the leadership characteristics of models with this that use this tactic. Units with this tactic are eligible to shoot in the turn which they fell back, but if they do so, must then until the end of the turn, each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Nothing changed about the Ultramarines. They're still the same. Salamanders, which is one of the Salamanders are one of the best right now. So I highly suggest you pay attention to this because I think it's going to be Salamanders, Blood Angels, and maybe Crimson Fist or Imperial Fist and White Scars. God, there's so many good ones. The only one I think is bad right now is probably the Black Templar as the worst. Oh, before I get onto the Salamanders, I'm going to do the Iron Hands. The flesh is weak. Each time a model with this tactic would lose a wound, roll a d6. On a 6, that wound is not lost. Feel no pain across the army of a 6+, which is really good. Models with this tactic, whose characters can change as they suffer damage, are considered to have double the number of wound characteristics remaining for the purposes of determining what those characteristics are, such as Dreadnoughts, Leviathan Dreadnoughts, their tanks, and things of that nature. So, yeah, Iron Hands, pretty good. 6-up, feel no pain is amazing. Salamanders. Each time a unit with this tactic is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 wound roll when resolving that unit's attack. Pretty good. It used to be hit roll, I think, though. I don't know. Each time an attack with the armor penetration characteristic of -1 is allocated to a model with this tactic, that attack has the armor penetration characteristic of 0 instead. So pretty decent. You can't really complain too much about that. It's fairly good. Betting new codex with new models for Grey Knights. Maybe. Let's hope so. Whew. Remember everyone, stay hydrated. Drinking water is extremely important. Okay, Raven Guard Shadow Master. It's time to duel and send you to the Shadow Realm. Anytime. Anyway, anytime. Jesus. Okay. Each time a ranged attack is made with a unit with this tactic, if the attacker is more than 18 inches away, not 12 inches away, but 18 away, then unit's attack is treated as having the benefit of light cover against those attacks. See the core rulebook. Each time a ranged attack is made against an infantry unit with this tactic, that is entirely on or within a terrain feature of the attacker more than 12 inches away from that unit with this tactic, it is treated as having the benefits of dense cover against those attacks. So if you're 18 inches away and in cover, you actually get the +1 to hit and the -1 to hit and the +1 to your armor save. So Raven Guard are pretty good for long-range combat, especially if you're bringing Devastators and things of that nature. There we go. And now the Deathwatch, which took the biggest nerf out of any Codex ever. Deathwatch kind of went from being like a tier 1 army, actually they were never tier 1, but they went from being like a tier 3 army to maybe a tier 4, I don't know, they're kind of bad in my opinion. Okay. Each time a model with this tactic makes a melee attack against a Tyranid, Eldari, Ork, Necron, or Tau unit, not a Zote, or a Dakaro, reroll hit rolls of 1, which kind of sucks because the Dark Angels can do that for free just by standing still, and they get it for their close combat attacks as well. So overall, it's kind of just bad. After both sides have finished deploying their armies, select one battlefield roll until the end of the battle. Each time a model with this tactic makes an attack against the selected enemy unit with that battlefield roll, reroll wound rolls of 1. So if they have a lot of troops, you pick troops. If they have a lot of HQs, you pick those. So on and so forth. Overall, Deathwatch kind of suck right now. Kind of feel really bad. Because I know a few people that started them. So the winners out of this are going to be the Dark Angels, the White Scars, the Space Wolves. Space Wolves especially, I think they're going to be a little bit better than these Blood Angels. But I could be completely wrong. The Imperial Fists are okay. I don't think that they're great, but they're pretty good. They're pretty easy to remember. Blood Angels are extremely good. The Flesh Terrors are really good. Iron Hands are okay right now. They've been nerfed too much since last edition. Ultramarines are okay. Salamanders are incredible. Raven Guard are pretty good. Deathwatch suck. I guess it's easier to say the ones that suck are Ultramarine, Deathwatch, Imperial Fists. Not Imperial Fists, Black Templar. But Ultramarines are also really good, so yeah. I just started the Deathwatch army like 3 months ago. I just commission painted a Deathwatch army for somebody. 2 people, and yeah, they're kind of terrible right now. So then we go into the successor chapter traits here on page 96. We're going to be at this for quite some time, to be honest. So we have 61 viewers, which is kind of cool. Hello, everyone. Be sure to comment and as we go. And be sure to like this video, and if you're super awesome, be sure to do the super chat. It actually helps me out quite a bit. Alright, so that was words that got jumbled up into whatever the hell that was. I don't even know what I was just trying to say, but it kind of just vomited out of my mouth. But here we go. Successor chapter traits. If you choose, if your chosen chapter does not have associated chapter tactics on page 94 to 95, you must instead create your own chapter tactics by selecting rules from the list here. Unless otherwise stated, your chapter has 2 successor chapters from the following list. Now, this is interesting because it does include, like, it does include things like Brazen Minotaurs, the Nova Marines, and what else am I trying to think of? Red Scorpions, which all have chapter tactics. but they're not on those pages, so technically now you have to select the successor chapters for them. Ultramarines are not bad. There is like no change of them. I agree with that. Ultramarines are just kind of meh. They're in the middle, I think, out of all of them. Let's see. Let's read some of the chat. I want to paint up my Rogue Trader or Space Marines to look like army men. Do it. Do it. Hello, Alexis and everyone. Hello. Let's hope successor chapters will bring... I am so sorry about yawning. I've barely gotten any sleep in the past few days. But still there will be supplements for Deathwatch. The second thing that Special Issue Ammunition... Yeah, Special Issue Ammunition will be in their Codex. Their own Codex. So let's dive into these. Bolt of Fuselage is the first one. Each time a model with this tactic makes a ranged attack with a bolt weapon, it can reroll hit rolls of 1, which is already better than the Deathwatch. Just saying. Like, right off the bat, it's better than the Deathwatch. Born Heroes. Each time a model with this tactic makes a melee attack, if that model's unit made a charge move this turn, add 1 to the hit rolls. Pretty good for a melee-focused army. In fact, if I was playing Black Templar, I would choose that one. Duelist. Each time a model with this tactic makes a melee attack against an infantry or biker unit, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 automatically wounds that target. You cannot select this tactic if you already have selected the Whirlwind of Rage tactics, the opposite. Okay, that's fairly decent. That's really nice. Fearsome Aspect. Units with this tactic have the following ability. Wow, sorry. Once an enemy unit is within 3 inches of this unit, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic of the models in that enemy unit. Pretty much useless. Hungry for Battle. Add 1 to the advance and charge rolls made for use with this tactic, which is already better than the Black Templars. I don't know why the Black Templars suck so much, but they really, really, really do. Indomitable. Each time a combat attrition test is taken with the unit with this tactic, it is automatically passed. Which is pretty good. Inheritors of the Primer. You can select a successor tactic and have selected any other successor tactic if you have selected a... Holy cow, this is a jumble of words. You can select this successor tactic if you have selected... You cannot select the successor chapter tactic if you have selected any other successor tactic, and if you select this tactic, you cannot select a second tactic. Select one of the following chapters and use the chapter tactic of that chapter as listed on page 94 or 95. Dark Angels, White Scars, Space Wolves, Imperial Fists, Blood Angels, Iron Hands, Ultramarines, Salamanders, or Raven Guard. It's funny that Space Wolves aren't included in it. Oh no, there they are. Designer notes. If in the background of your publication, your chapter is a known successor of a specific first founding chapter, then you select the successor chapter tactics that the chapter tactics for the first founding chapter. Which is really funny. You can use Inheritors of the Primarch, select Black Templar. Oh, you can't select Black Templar. They're not there. So that's really funny. You can select Imperial Fists, name your guys Black Templar, and take Black Templar Librarians. It's just a silly thing that you can do. They're not Black Templar, but you can technically field Black Templar Librarians by using Inheritors of the Primarch, selecting Imperial Fist and calling them the Black Templars, which just add an S to either side of it, or take away the S like Black Templar, and you can run Black Templar Librarians. Here, bud, and you slept in the car. Hey, look, I did sleep in the car, but I also didn't sleep all night. Okay, jokes aside, jokes aside, jokes aside. The Blackest Templars. Yes. The Blackest Templars. Or you could do the White Templars or things like that, because the White Templars and the Red Templars are actually both successor chapters of the Imperial Fists that never get talked about. Knowledge is power. Each time a psychic test or deny the witch test is taken for a psychic unit with this chapter tactic, reroll any and all of the dice resulting in ones. So knowledge is power is one that you can actually run with Blood Ravens, which I would highly suggest, because that's kind of the one that I would choose for them. Long-range marksman, add 3 inches to the range characteristic of rapid fire and heavy weapons, excluding flame weapons. See page 195 for flame weapons. Models with this tactic are equipped with. Pretty decent. That's kind of it. The politically correct Templars. I love it. Master Artisans. Each time a unit with this tactic is selected to shoot or fight with, you can reroll 1 hit roll when resolving that unit's attacks. Personally, I would select Master Artisan and Knowledge is Power to run Blood Ravens, which could be very cool. Preferred Enemy. When selecting this tactic, select one of the following faction keywords. Chaos Knights, Tyranids, Eldar, Ork, Heretics, Astartes, Necrons, Tau Empire. Each time a model with this tactic makes a melee attack against a unit with that faction keyword, reroll a hit roll of 1. Pretty decent, not great. I'm going to mute my phone now because everybody probably checked their phone just now. So let's go ahead and just make sure you're muted. There we go. And my ringtone all the way down. Thank you. I don't need to see that I have 400 texts right now. Rapid Assault. Models with this tactic do not suffer the penalty incurred to their hit rolls for advancing and firing assault weapons in the same turn that the unit advanced. Pretty decent. Have aggressors changed? We're getting to that. Stick around and find out. I think you've asked that question like 40, 50 times. Let's see. I like the tactics. It keeps the rerolls without breaking it. I hope Chaos gets it. Yeah, same thing. Are combat doctrines still in the new Codex? Yes, they are. We're going to get to them. Scions of the Forge. Models with this tactic, whose characteristics can change as they suffer damage, are considered to have double the number of wounds remaining for the purposes of determining what those characteristics are. So, dreadnoughts and vehicles are considered double their profile. Stalwart. Each time an attack is made against a unit with this tactic, an enemy's unmodified wound roll of 1 and 2 always fails. Oh, wow, that's really good. Irrespectively of any abilities that that weapon or the attacker may have. That is really good. Blood Angels wound you on 3s then. So that's actually pretty good. Stealthy. Each time a ranged attack is made against a unit with this tactic, if that attacker is more than 18 inches away of a unit with this tactic, it is treating having the benefits of light cover against that attack. Pretty basic. Static. Add 1 to the leadership characteristic of models with this tactic. Basic. Units with this, next one is tactical withdrawal. Units with this tactic are eligible to declare a charge even if they fell back this turn, which is pretty good. Pretty good. I like it. I really like it. Warded. Each time a model with this tactic would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, roll a d6 on a 5+, the wound is not lost. 5+, feel no pain against psychic abilities is pretty good, or just mortal wounds, which is really good. Whirlwind of Rage. Each time a model with this tactic makes a melee attack, if that model's unit made a charge move, was charged, or performed a heroic intervention this turn, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 automatically scores 1 additional hit. You cannot select this tactic if you have the duelist tactic. So you can't score 2 additional hits. Who would have guessed? Whew! That is a lot to go over. Damn. Alright, everyone. Make sure you grab your water. Get a drink. And I'm going to read some of these comments as we go. Well, time to go back to playing Orks. I like tactics. It keeps rerolls without breaking it. I read that one. Are combat doctrines still in the new codex? Yes, they are. Have aggressors changed? Yes. We can say that aggressors changed is kind of aggressive. Have there been any news with the other codexes being released? I don't know, but I do have the Necron Codex to go over very soon, so we're going to get to that one as well, probably sometime this week. So, this is another part of the book, and this is just chapter commands. This is where all the point costs for your Master of Sanctity, your Chapter Master, your Master of the Forge, Chief Librarian, Chief Apothecary, Chapter Ancient, Company Champion are. So, here's the thing. These are upgrades to units now, okay? So if you want to make your Captain a Chapter Master, it's +2 power level, which absolutely no one uses. Don't even bother printing it out. It's +40 points. A Chaplain to a Master of Sanctity is +25. A Tech Marine to Master of the Forge is +20. A Librarian to a Chief Librarian is +25. An Apothecary to a Chief Apothecary is 15. An Ancient to a Chapter Ancient is 20. A Company Champion to a Chapter Champion is 15. Okay, we're good with that? Yes? Okay, can't wait until Battlescribe has it. Make it so much easier. As well as the GW app, if you have that. By the way, there is actually a code on the front of each of these books that allows you to put this codex into your Warhammer app, so you have everything within it, which is kind of cool. If you have the Warhammer app, which I really hope is getting better. So, Chapter Master gains the following abilities. Chapter Master, in your command phase, select one friendly chapter core unit. Core is very important to aura abilities now, as the aura abilities only affect core units, and characters are not core units anymore. So, there you go. Chapter Masters do not currently benefit from their own abilities. In your command phase, select one friendly chapter core unit or chapter character. Okay, this one affects chapter characters. Way to be wrong, Alexis. Within 6 inches of this model. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a model in this unit would make an attack, you can reroll the hit roll. Chapter Master. A Chapter Master is excluded from company command rule. That means that the detachment can include both one Chapter Master and one captain. So, yeah, kind of interesting, to be honest. I don't really... I don't know. I don't think Chapter Masters are worth it anymore. But let's keep reading and see what they can get. Relics and Warlord Traits. You can give a Chapter Master model the Angel Artificer Relic instead of giving them the Chapter Relics. In addition, you can give them the Master of the Codex Warlord Trait instead of any other Warlord Trait. Instead of giving them another Warlord Trait. So it looks like they can take any and all of the older things that they could, but they also get access to these 2 specific Relics and Warlord Traits. So the Warlord trait is Master of the Codex at the start of the command phase. If this Warlord is on a battlefield, roll 1d6. On a 4+, you gain 1 command point. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. I mean, personally, I think the Sisters of Battle have it a bit better, getting faith points automatically. Yeah, it's alright. I don't think I would waste a character's Warlord trait for that, but that's just me. I don't know. Angel Artifice. The bearer saving throw. The bearer has a saving throw characteristic of 2+. Add 1 to the bearer's wound and toughness characteristic. This means you can have a toughness 8 captain if he's on a bike. At least I believe so. Actually, I think it's toughness 7. Let me check really quickly. I'm just going to skip this a few times. Wound characteristic of 6 to a 7. Toughness characteristic of 5. The aggressor armor has a toughness characteristic of 5. Yeah, he can go up to a 6, which is really decent. Again, I don't think that I would... No, I do think that I would waste the points on that. They didn't form the core of your army. They let it. Oh yeah, we're gonna get to the core abilities in just a second as we go over units. So that's gonna be interesting. The only thing you need to know about core right now is that aura abilities only affect core units for the most part. Seeing how Space Marines have changed through the years, we just have to wait until Solar Auxilia comes back with all the new AdMech stuff. The Solar Auxilia is the Imperial Guard of the Astra Militarum. It's not the AdMech. I feel sorry for Alexis going through the written rules from GW. It's such a pain. Yeah, some of the rules here are poorly written, especially for us Americans. We have English simplified instead of the complex version of English that they speak in Britain. Master of Sanctity. Now, this one I actually think is really, really, really good. This is for your chaplain to upgrade him to Master of Sanctity. Master of Sanctity model knows 1 additional litany from the Litanies of Battle, see page 112. In the command phase, if this model is on a battlefield, you can recite 1 additional litany it knows that has not already been sung, essentially. So, Master of Sanctity can sing twice and buff twice, which is really good. Relics and Warlord Traits, you can give him the Wise Ortos, the Emperor's Judgment Relic. So this one is a Warlord trait. Each time your Warlord recites a litany, add 1 to the roll to see if it's inspiring. Each time your Warlord is selected to use the commanding stratagem, that stratagem costs 1 command point. Pretty decent. The Emperor's Judgment. This is the relic. Each time an attack is made against the bearer, your opponent cannot re-roll the hit roll, cannot re-roll the wound roll, and cannot re-roll the damage roll. That's actually pretty good, especially if you have a Chaplain Dreadnought. So I really like that. The bearer has the following abilities. The Emperor's Judgment. Aura. Whilst an enemy unit is within 6 inches of the bearer, each time a morale test is taken, taken for that unit, roll 1 additional d6, discarding the lowest result. That's actually pretty good. Like, Master of Sanctity is better than the Chapter Master. Like, hands down, just better than the Chapter Master. I really like the Master of Sanctity. I might take my Chaplain Dreadnought as a Master of Sanctity. Alright, so we move on to Master of the Forge. The Master of the Forge has the following ability. Each time this model repairs a model using the Blessings of the Omnissiah ability, that model regains up to 3 lost rooms instead of D3. That's really fantastic. Relics and Warlord Traits, he gains the Warden of the Ancient Warlord Trait / Aura, and the Mortis Mechana, the Relic. So this Warlord Trait is when a friendly Chapter Dreadnought is within 6 inches of this Warlord, add 1 to the Strength and Attack characteristics. That's actually really, 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 really good if you're running like a Contemptor, not a Contemptor Dreadnought. Actually, yeah, maybe a Contemptor Dreadnought with dual Punchy Fists, a Leviathan with Punchy Fists, or just a regular Dreadnought, to be honest, with a Lance Cannon Punchy Fist. You can also take this with the Blood Angel Librarian Dreadnought. Ooh, that's really, really, really good. Okay. No, this is really good. But it's a Warlord trait. I don't really like it being a Warlord trait. If you can take multiple Warlord traits, then maybe this one will be up there. And then the Mortis Mechana, model is equipped with the Omniscient Power Axe only. This relic replaces the Omniscient Power Axe with the following weapon, which is pretty much useless. Strength +3, AP -2, 3 damage. Each time an attack is made with this weapon against a vehicle, if the saving throw is failed, the target suffers 1 mortal wound. Never take this relic. It seems kind of pointless. Especially when you can give him a Thunderhammer. I don't know. Seems worthless to me. Starts out with the Power Axe. Power Axe is pretty good. I wouldn't bother taking a relic. But I would take his Warlord ability. I think that Warlord ability is really good. Moving on, we have the Chief Librarian. Alright, so Chief Librarian, this model knows 1 additional psychic power from their chosen discipline and can attempt to deny 1 additional psychic power in your opponent's psychic phase. Relics and Warlord Traits, he has the Neural Shroud as the relic, and the Psychic Mastery as the Warlord trait. Add 1 to psychic tests taken for this Warlord. Pretty simple, not as good as the Tyranids. Thunderhammers got nerfed. Oh my god, yes they did. They're AP -2 now. The Neural Shroud increased the range of this bearer's psychic code ability to 24. Not gonna lie, Chief Librarian seems completely worthless. I mean, I wouldn't bother taking it for the points. I'm not gonna lie. I'd rather just take another cheap Psyker. Chief Apothecary. Chief Apothecary. At the beginning of your movement phase, this model can use the Combat Restoration ability twice instead of once. Really good. You can hit 2 squads, which is extremely good. So, yeah. Selfless Healer, Warlord trait. Each time this Warlord uses the Combat Restorative ability, this model being healed regains up to 3 lost wounds instead of D3. Really good for keeping certain people alive. Each time this Warlord is selected to return a destroyed model to the unit by using the Combat Revival stratagem, that stratagem costs 0 command points, so he automatically brings a guy back to life. So his Warlord trait is pretty decent. How many points left, though? Chief Apothecary, it's only 15 points. It's kind of worth it. I like the ability to do it twice, especially on, like, the Dark Angel Biker that can do it. So, that's pretty solid. Are there any chances of the Redemptor Dreadnought ever being venerable? Maybe? Redemptor Dreadnought. No, actually, no. They're still pretty new. Alright. I'm not even going to attempt to read that. His relic. Model equipped with a bolt pistol or an absolver bolt pistol only. This relic replaces the bolt pistol or absolver bolt pistol and has the following profile. 18-inch pistol 1, strength 5, AP -3, 2 damage. Each time the attack is made with this weapon against infantry, it always wounds on a 2+, and has a damage characteristic of 4+. So it's pretty decent, but again, I wouldn't waste a relic on an Apothecary, especially being that Apothecaries only have a 3-up save and die really quickly. Yeah. And then we have the Chapter Champion. Alright, and I think this is the last duder before the stratagems. Yes, it is. So the last duder is the Chapter Champion model gains the following ability. Skillful Parry. Each time a melee attack is made against this model, subtract 1 from... Each time a melee attack is made against this model, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Each time this model makes a melee attack against an enemy character, you can re-roll the wound roll. Chapter Champion. This model has an attack characteristic of 5 and a leadership characteristic of 9. 5 attacks is pretty good, especially if he's wielding a chainsword. For 6 attacks, with the AP -1 is pretty decent. Or Power Axe, which is pretty good. His Warlord trait is an aura, and when a friendly chapter core unit or chapter character, I don't get why they even bothered doing that. Okay, I guess they just wanted to exclude certain things like Centurions from the aura abilities. Within 6 inches of this Warlord, you can reroll charge rolls made for that unit. It's okay. I mean, it's really good in the Blood Angel armies, assuming that the Chapter Champion can actually take a jump pack and keep up, or the Chapter Champion can take a bike. If you can take one of those two and be able to keep up to your assault troops, then yeah, he's really good. Would I waste the Warlord ability on him? No. Blade of Triumph. Again, I think any and all weapon that replace any and all relics that replace a weapon are pretty much worthless unless they're on like a chapter master or something of that nature. Well, let's take a look at this. Replaces a mastercrafted power sword with the Blade of Triumph. It is a strength +3, so strength 7, AP -3, 3 damage weapon. So it's better than a Thunderhammer, but it's weaker than a Thunderhammer, so it's there. Now, before we move on, let's read some of this chat as we go. First of all, who's writing these rules? Who's the editor to this? Did they change their seating? I think the rules are written pretty badly. It's just me stuttering because I get nervous reading. Whoever changed these rules must be an Orc player. No, they're just trying to make the rules as you can't take advantage of them as possible. Thought, are there any chances of the Redemptive Dreadnought being venerable? Seriously, I don't think so right this second. Marines die in Redemptor lore. Wise, no doubt. Will the Apothecary Warlord trait be as good as the Hero Hammer? Be good for a Hero Hammer list? He can heal 3 wounds, but it has to be of a certain particular chapter, so I don't really think so. These 9th edition rules are like, who's the first, what's the second, and I don't know, on the 3rd. You can see that. Oh, by the way, lore has like little to no effect on the rules themselves, by the way. They just don't. Don't equate lore to in-game rules. Just saying. 40k in the far future of the 2021, there is only references and referees and lawyers, right? I think they nerfed the Centurions because the 6 now buffed heavy bolters on the Min squad. Well, yeah, Centurions should just be like 1,000,000 points. They're way too good. Alright, moving on to stratagems, we have, it looks like 2 pages of stratagems, 4 pages of stratagems. Jesus, am I wrong? Yeah, 4 pages of stratagems. So we can get through these really quickly. Use the stratagem in the fight phase when in, this is Death to the Traitors, 1 command point. Adeptus Astartes Battle Tactic Stratagem. So now they have battle tactics. Some of these are gray. Why are they brown? Why are some of these red? Interesting. I think it's because that's weird. So look at this real quick. Some of these chapter stratagems are brown and some are red and some are blue. I'm kind of confused by this. Does this mean I can only use them in certain battles? Let me check the Crusade rules. Tactic rules, stratagems, Warlord Traits. Abilities and doctrines. No, I know they have a Crusade. Yeah. Matched play. So matched play is red. Army rules are blue. And Crusade rules are black? Brown? Brown? Huh. I don't really know what they mean, but let's get into it. Death to the Traitors, 1 command point. Adeptus Astartes Battle Tactic Stratagem. Use the stratagem in the fight phase. When an Adeptus Astartes unit from your army is selected to fight, until the end of that phase, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack against a Heretic Astartes, you can re-roll the hit rolls. So we finally got something to match their abilities of hitting us better, which I think is Death to the False Emperor, and now we have Death to the Traitors. I don't think we actually needed it. We are way better than Traitors because they're heretics and icky and garbage. They're actually not garbage on tabletop. They're really good on tabletop. I'm just saying that as, you know, a loyalist player at heart. Honor Thy Chapter, 2 command points. Use a stratagem. This is an Adeptus Astartes Battle Tactic Stratagem. So I guess Epic Deed Stratagem, and then Requisition Stratagem. And then we have Strategic Ploy Stratagems. Okay, so that's the different colors. Gotcha. Big brain move on GW part. I think that's really cool, actually. Honor Thy Chapter is a battle tactic stratagem. Use this stratagem at the end of the fight phase. Select one Adeptus Select one Assault Intercessor Squad unit from your army that is within engagement range of an enemy unit. It can fight again. That's amazing. That is absolutely crazy good. And I actually really like the Assault Intercessors. I really thought that I wouldn't, but their sheer amount of attacks and damage output is absolutely incredible. And now the fact that they can attack twice, but they must be within engagement range, which is unlike the Sister Battle one, which they can pile in and then attack again, or they can issue the ability to fight again. So it's a little bit different, and probably the wording that we're going to see in the future for this. So I really like it, and 2 command points is amazing. Fury of the First. Use the stratagem in your shooting phase. When an Adeptus unit from your army is selected to shoot or fight in the fight phase. When the Adeptus unit in your army is selected to fight until the end of the phase, each time a Terminator model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to their hit roll. Holy crap, that's actually pretty decent. We can have 2+. Actually, I don't see the point of taking Thunderhammers anymore. I mean, you get the 4-up Storm Shield, but it's just not that good anymore. So Assault Intercessors are basically Khorne Berserkers now. Less attacks, but yes. Hitting on 3 with Thunderhammers. Hitting on 2s with Lightning Claws, though, is really nice. Oh, here it is. Transhuman Physiology. I was just about to worry about this one. It's 1 or 2 command points. It is a battle tactic stratagem. Use the stratagem in any phase when a Primers unit from your army is selected as a target for an attack. So now it's strictly Primers. So never mind, Terminators are bad again. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack is made against that unit, an unmodified wound roll of a 1, 2, or 3 for that attack fails, irrespectively of any abilities that weapon or that model is making the attack may have. If the unit contains 5 or fewer models, this stratagem costs 1 point, otherwise it costs 2 points. But it's a Primers ability now. No longer can I use it on my regular jump captain, no longer can I use it on my Centurions, no longer can I use it on, like, any of my cool things, like, I can't use it on my Terminators. So that's actually heckin' big. Like, that is huge. It only affects Primers. So only Primers are transhuman, I guess. Baby Marines are becoming more humans. Huh. Okay. I don't know if I like the change to transhuman physiology. It strictly makes it so that I want to play just Primers. Huh. Okay, Rapid Fire. 2 command points. Adeptus Astartes Battle Tactic Stratagem. Use the stratagem at the end of your shooting phase. Select 1 Intercessor Squad or Veteran Intercessor Squad. By the way, the Veteran Intercessors are an elite choice now. Select a unit from your army. It can shoot again. Ooh. Okay. No, that's pretty good, especially on turn 1 with a bunch of Stalker Bolters. You can have 10 Stalker Bolters. Shooting twice is 20 shots. If you're standing next to your captain and you called them, you can re-roll the ones. So that's pretty decent. It's not great, but yeah. No, it's just really good. Intercessors being able to fire twice is amazing. Especially if you put it on an Assault Intercessor squad of Close Combat Intercessors. By the way, they can switch. So, yeah. You could put it on their Absolver Bolt Pistol, not their Absolver, the Heavy Bolt Pistols, finish off a unit, and then charge another unit. So this has definite versatility. I really like it, so let's keep going. Gene Roth Might. Use the stratagem in the fight phase, when a Primers unit from your army is selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, an unmodified hit roll of a 6+, an unmodified roll of a 6 automatically wounds the target. That's really good. I like how they did this. They essentially made it so that, yeah, the baby Marines got a buff, but now they can't use the battle tactic stratagems. So they're kind of still in the same spot where they're not as good. Next one is Unyielding in the Face of the Foes, 1 command point. Adeptus Astartes Battle Tactic Stratagem. Use the stratagem in any phase when a Mark X Gravis unit from your army is selected as the target for an attack. Until the end of that phase, each time an attack with a damage characteristic of 1 is allocated to a model in that unit, add 1 to the armor saving throw made against that unit. Holy crap, if you hit me with a 1 damage weapon against my aggressors, they have a 2+ save. For 1 command point. That's incredible. Oh, man. I don't even know. Like, that's honestly incredible. Man, Vanilla Marines are kind of losing their abilities. I don't know. Oh, no, though, the Epic Deed stratagems can hit them. So that's pretty good. So that's the end of the battle tactic stratagems. Now we go into the Epic Deed stratagems. Only in death does duty end. Use this stratagem in the fight phase when Adeptus Astartes character model from your army that has not already been selected to fight with this phase is destroyed. Okay, that's really big. That's really big, because usually what happened was people would select their unit that has attacked already, and if they die, force them to attack again. So now it's no longer that. You cannot fight twice with the same character that just died. So no. No, 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 no. They don't get to do that. It only has to be on their first time of fighting. Do not remove that model from play. It can fight after attacking model have finished making their attacks. After resolving the destroyed model's attacks, it is removed. And that can hit any Adeptus Astartes character. So it can hit your Emperor's Champion, your Chapter Master, your Biker, your Bike Captain, your Chaplain on Bike, all sorts of things. Armor of Contempt, 1 command point, Epic Deed Stratagem. Use this stratagem in any phase when an Adeptus Astartes vehicle model from your army would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound. Until the end of that phase, each time a model would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, roll a d6 on a 5+ that is not lost. So this is the stratagem you play on units like that are being hit by smite like crazy. So yeah. Let's take a drink. And let's see some of these comments. Unfortunately, there are gamers that look through these rules for all kinds of loopholes, just to min-max their armies, to be cheesy as possible, and still be legal. Yes, that is the point of playing a video game, or any type of game. Everyone does it. I guess it's better than vanilla rules. Yeah, it kind of is. I hope the new Codex keeps up with the intercessors. I know they will in rules, but yeah, okay, that makes sense. Seeing how good Primers are game and lore-wise, I wouldn't be surprised if some more suspicious or paranoid firstborn who would have kind of civil war with the Primers, if not tolerating them. There's so far no real instance of civil war without chaos incursion, so there's that. Rapid fire stratagem isn't much different. I mean, shoot again is still like having rapid fire too. That's true enough. That's true enough. The Eradicators are, the Eradicator is too broken. I honestly don't think so. But they are more broken now that they can go to 6-man. Honestly, as a Space Marine player, I'm kind of hoping for some Civil War. I think that would be interesting. It's not happening. Hoping this Nihilist versus Traitor Reboot Gilliman. Versus the Traitor Reboot Gilliman. Reboot Gilliman is not a traitor. Alright, so moving on. Power of the Machine Spirit. 2 command points, Epic Deed Stratagem. Use the stratagem in your command phase. Select one Adeptus Astartes Machine Spirit model from your army. Until the start of your next command phase, that model is considered to have a full wounds characteristic remaining for determining characteristics on its profile. So this can hit things like your Land Raiders and things of that nature. Things that have a Machine Spirit. Wisdom of the Ancient, 1 command point. Use the stratagem in your command phase. Select one Adeptus Astartes Dreadnought model from your armies. excluding the Wolfen or Death Company model, until the start of your next command phase. This model gains either the Rights of War ability or Tactical Precision ability, as shown below. Rights of Battle is an OR ability. While a friendly chapter core unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, reroll hit rolls of 1. Tactical Precision, Aura. When a friendly chapter core unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time a model in that unit would make an attack, you can reroll the wound characteristics of 1. So that's pretty good for a Blood Angel Dreadnought, especially if it is in combat and has intercessors next to it. You can make the intercessors hit on 2s or wound better, which is incredibly good. Alright, and then we have the next one, Commanding Orderly, Epic Deed Stratagem. Use this stratagem at the start of any of your phases other than your command phase. Select one Adeptus Astartes Chaplain unit from your army that has not received litany this turn. That model can recite one litany that has not already been recited by a friendly model this turn. This litany is automatically inspired, do not roll, and takes effect until the start of your next command phase. That's really, 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 really good. So, yeah. Combat Revival. Use this stratagem. This is an Epic Deed stratagem. Use the stratagem at the end of your movement phase. Select one character apothecary unit from your army, and then select one friendly chapter infantry or chapter biker unit that is not at starting strength and is within 3 inches of the apothecary. One of the selected unit's destroyed models is returned to the unit with full wounds remaining. That was a mouthful. Alexis, where are the rules for tank shocks? There is no rule for tank shock as far as I can tell. Let me see. There's guerrilla tactics, shock and awe, melt-a-bombs. Melt-a-bombs are now a stratagem, by the way. Hellfire shots, which is now a stratagem. Grav pulse is something new. Smoke screen is a stratagem. But yeah, no. Okay. I need to take a slight breather for a second because going through all of this is crazy and very long. I mean, we're already at 1 hour and 12 minutes. This has been going on for some time. Okay. Relics of the Chapter. This is a requisition stratagem. There's only 2 requisition stratagems so far that I can see. The rest are strategic play stratagems. Okay, use the stratagem before the battle when you are mustering your army. I don't know why they say mustering your army. If your warlord is an Adeptus Astartes keyword, select one Adeptus Astartes character model from your army and give it 1 chapter relic. This must be a relic that they could have. Each relic in your army must be unique, and you cannot use this stratagem to give a model 2 relics. You can only use this stratagem once, unless you are playing a Strike Force ability, in which case you can use the stratagem twice, or an Onslaught battle, which you can use the stratagem 3 times. So in a 2,000 point game, you can use this twice, it's 2 CP, and you get 2 extra relics. So for 2 CP, you can have 3 relics in your army for 2,000 points. Extremely good. I mean, I pretty much always spend my points on relics anyway. So, yeah. Honestly, I would like to see Skirmish. Okay, how ironic. Gilliman planned Imperial Secundus. Something when he was resurrected, his dream could come true, but in not the way that he expected. Yeah, that's kind of true. I don't know why we're talking lore about Rubik Gilliman, but that's true. Okay. So the next one is Hero of the Chapter, 1 command point. And I think this is the one that just gives a character a Warlord trait. Yes, it is. And in you can use this stratagem twice in an onslaught. Let's see. You can only use this stratagem once unless you are playing a Strike Force battle, a 2,000 point game, in which you can use this stratagem twice, or if you're playing greater than 3,000 points, you can use it 3 times. And that just gives a Warlord trait. Which is cool that you can use it 3 times, so you can have 3 Warlords in your army. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay, Strategic Ploy Stratagem. Use the stratagem in your movement phase when Adeptus Astartes Bike, Land Speeder, or Storm Speeder unit from your army has fallen back. The unit is still eligible to shoot this turn even though it has fallen back. So if you're not playing Ultramarines, this might be useful for you. Astartes Bikers. I wonder if that includes, like, the... I don't know. Hammer of Wrath, which is an old ability from every edition, except for 8th edition. Use the stratagem in your charge phase when Adeptus Astartes jump pack unit from your army finishes its charge move. Select one enemy unit within engagement range of the jump packs and roll 1d6 for each model that has a jump pack that is within engagement range of an enemy unit. For each die roll resulting that is equal to or exceeds the unit's toughness, the character suffers 1 mortal wound. That's actually really good because it used to be on 6s that it happened. Now it's just on normal, which is really good. So normally it's just going to wound on 4+, which is really, really, really good. 10-man unit, jumps in, hits half of them, that's 5 mortal wounds just right off the bat. That's solid. That's really solid. God, there's so many stratagems in here. Skill Divider. Strategic Ploy Stratagem. Use the stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase when an Adeptus Astartes Biker, Land Speeder, or Storm Speeder unit from your army that has advanced is selected as a target. They subtract 1 from the hit rolls. It's okay. It used to be a 4-up invo save. Excuse me. Stratagem from Adeptus Ridiculous. 3 Warlord Traits for people who play more than 2,000 points. I don't think so, because you can select your Warlord, give him a Warlord trait. If your Warlord has the Adeptus Astartes keyword, select one Adeptus Astartes character model from your army, excluding a named character, and determine 1 Warlord trait for it. And you can use the stratagem twice in a 2,000-point game. So you can have 3 Warlords. Just saying. Transhuman being Primers only. Yeah, that's kind of a big deal. Uncompromising Fire. Strategic Ploy Detachment. Stratagem. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase. Select one Adeptus Astartes infantry unit from your army that is performing a heroic action. Performing an action, that unit can shoot in this phase without that action failing. Okay, so that's pretty good. That's actually really good. It's actually really good. Steady Advance. Use this stratagem when you move in phase when Adeptus Astartes infantry unit. That was 2 CP, by the way, to do that. To do 1 action. Steady Advance is 2 CP. Use the stratagem in your movement phase when an Adeptus Astartes infantry unit from your army makes a normal move. Until the end of the turn, it is considered as remaining stationary. Good for heavy weapons. I apologize about the yawning. Adeptive Strategy, 2 CP. Strategic Ploy Stratagem. Use the stratagem in your command phase if a chapter Warlord unit from your army is on a battlefield and a combat doctrine is active for your army. Select 1 chapter core unit from your army that is on the battlefield. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, the devastated doctrine. Wait, what? Select 1 chapter core unit from your army that is on the battlefield. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, the devastated doctrine, tactical doctrine, and assault doctrine are considered to be active for that attack. Damn! So does that mean that's all 3? Okay. That's really good for 2 CP. Hell yeah, I'll take that. They used to be an Ultramarine exclusive. Suppression Fire. 1 CP. Strategic Ploy Stratagem. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when a whirlwind model from your army is selected to shoot. Until the end of that phase, each time a model makes an attack with a weapon that has the blast ability, if a hit roll is scored for that attack, then until the start of your next turn, that target cannot fire Overwatch or set to defend, and cannot select to fight until it is eligible from your army has done so, or until all eligible units from your army have done so. So that's really, really, really good if you need to take down like something Slanesh. Just be like, pop, it can't do anything, even its own abilities. So no. Alright, let's see. It's particularly good on Eradicators with heavy multi-rifles, as they get to fire twice and have 2 different weapon types. Yeah, it's pretty good. That is really good. Okay, so the next one is Terror Troops, which is 2 CP. Use this stratagem you can fit in your command phase. Select 1 Reaver unit from your army. That unit gains the following ability: Terror Troops Aura. Until the start of your next command phase, when an enemy unit within 3 inches of this unit, it loses objective secured ability and any similar abilities that allow them to control an objective marker regardless of any number of enemy model units within the objective marker. That's really, really solid if you need to win the objective at the end of your turn, or until the next command phase. That's incredible. Until the next turn, each time a Reaver unit ends its normal move, an advanced or charged move within 3 inches of an enemy unit that is performing an action, roll 2d6. If the total exceeds the enemy unit's leadership characteristic, this action the unit is attempting to perform is immediately failed. Reavers are solid. This is incredible. Yo, just automatically making people fail their freaking actions? Hell yeah. Although if your opponent's smart and sees that you have Reavers, they probably won't take any of the traits that, any of the secondaries that make it so that they have to put up a flag. Guerrilla Tactics, 1 CP, Strategic Ploy Stratagem. Use the stratagem in the movement phase when a Phobos unit from your army that is more than 6 inches away from an enemy model is selected to move. If the mission you are playing uses Strategic Reserves rule, place them into Strategic Reserves. Okay, not bad, not great. Just not great. Orbital Bombardment, 3 CP. Damn, this is 3 CP? I don't think this is worth it. Strategic Play Stratagem. Use the stratagem in your command phase if an Adeptus Astartes Warlord from your army is on the battlefield. Select 1 point on the map and place a marker on that point. At the start of your next command phase, roll 1d6 for each unit within 6 inches of the center of that marker, adding 1 to that unit if being rolled for more than 3 inches away from the center of the marker, subtracting 1 from the unit being rolled if it is a character. On a 2 to 5, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. On a 6+, that unit suffers D6 mortal wounds. The marker is removed, and you can only use the stratagem once. I think this stratagem is actually good. 3 CP, you put it over an objective. Your opponent now has to take the chance of moving into that objective and being within 3 inches of the center of that objective. So you can actually bombard your opponent off of that objective. And no longer is it at the start of the game, it's at the start of your command phase. Or use the stratagem in your command phase. So it's actually really good for like early game objective clearing or mid game objective clearing, or hell, even late game objective clearing. You just put it on the objective and your opponent goes, crap, do I try to hold, taking D3 mortal wounds per guy on it? The unit suffers D3 mortal wounds and on 6s, D6 mortal wounds. So yeah, they have to take the chance of rolling a 2 through 5, and only on a 1 does it fail. So it's still a 1 in 6 chance that you fail, but it's actually really good for objective clearing. I think this stratagem is good. I really think this is good. You put it over an objective, your opponent either has to stand there and just be like, well, golly gee willikers, I hope I don't get blown away, and then you blow them away, or it's actually solid. Like, I really like Orbital Bombardment. I think it's really good. 3 CP, though, is kind of expensive, but yeah. Now we move on to the War Gear stratagems. The Ausspec scan is the first one, 2 CP. Use the stratagem at the end of the reinforcement step of your opponent's movement phase. Select one Adeptus Astartes infantry unit from your army that is not within engagement range of any other enemy unit. That unit can shoot as though it was your shooting phase, but its models can only target a single eligible enemy unit that is sent up as reinforcements this turn that is not within 12 inches of there when the unit is doing so. Okay, so if they're outside of 12 inches and they deep striked in, you can shoot them, but not if you're engaged. Done. So next up we have Tremor Shells. This is for Thunderfire Cannons. If you haven't used Thunderfire Cannons, it's actually really, 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 really good. Use the stratagem in your shooting phase when selecting a target for a Thunderfire Cannon model in your army. Until the end of the phase, each time that model makes a ranged attack, subtract 1 from the attacker's wound roll, and if it hits, it scores. If a hit is scored against the target that is not Titanic and cannot fly, then a unit at the start of your next movement phase, half the movement characteristic of the models in that target unit, and subtract 2 from their advance rolls if they are the advance and charge rolls made for that unit. That is a whole lot to say. Shoot Thunderfire Cannons. Coughing now. Shoot Thunderfire Cannons at infantry, half their movement, half their advance, and half their charge. If you're running Thunderfire Cannons, you know this. You did this last edition. It's really good. But now it doesn't affect fly units, which kind of sucks. Is what it is. Is what it is. Shock and Awe, War Gear Stratagem. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase on Adeptus Astartes. Shock Grenade or a Land Speeder Storm unit from your army is selected to shoot. Select one enemy unit within 6 inches of the target at the start of your next turn. The selected unit cannot fire Overwatch or set to defend. Each time a model in the selected unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from their attacker's hit rolls. Pretty decent. Alright. I don't know if I like that for a stratagem, though. I liked it better when it was free. Oh, just so you know, Thunderfire Cannons and Thud Guns are completely different weapons. Thunderfire Cannons have existed all the way since Rogue Trader. Same with Thud Guns. I don't know if I like Shock and Awe. Anyway, Melta Bombs are now a stratagem. I don't know if I like that either. I like the ability to buy them and use them as I feel. Because I feel like they're going to hit Genestealer Cult with this and I'm going to cry. Use the stratagem in the fight phase when Adeptus Astartes Melta Bomb unit from your army is selected to fight. By the way, Melta Bomb is now a keyword and not a piece of war gear. Select what model in that unit. That model can only make one attack with this phase. It must target an enemy vehicle unit with this attack, but if it hits, it scores. But if a hit is scored, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, 2d3 mortal wounds, and the attack subsequently ends. 2d3 mortal wounds is actually pretty nice, though. Holy cow. I like that. I like that a lot. Grav Pulse. Use this stratagem either when moving an Adeptus Astartes repulsor field unit from your army falls back until the end of that turn. That unit is eligible to shoot with even though it has fallen back. Yeah, Fly doesn't give you the ability to shoot when you fall back now. So, sorry, Tau. Your opponent charges an Adeptus Astartes repulsor field unit from your army and is selected as a target for a charge. Until the end of that phase, subtract 2 from the charge roll. The charge roll made for declaring the charge against the repulsor field. I apologize. My throat is really dry. The 40k ones with thud guns. I'm sorry, Mr. Tribe, but you're kind of wrong. The thud gun and thunderfire cannon both existed in Rogue Trader. Hellfire Shots. 1 command point. Use the stratagem in your shooting phase when Adeptus Astartes infantry model from your army shoots with a heavy bolter, a Hellstorm heavy bolter, or an Executor heavy bolter. You can only make 1 attack with this weapon this phase, but if a hit is scored, the target suffers D3 mortal wounds, and the attack sequence ends. If this is scored against a monster, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds instead of D3. Suffers 3 mortal wounds instead of D3. So, yeah, that's incredible, actually. But it's weird that they're saying that it's only 1 attack action, because in older editions, 8th edition, you'd be able to use that plus the stratagem to attack twice, and because of that, you were able to shoot D3 twice. But now it's just once. 1 attack action, that's it. So, it's interesting. Next up, we have Flak Missile. This is the anti-aircraft one. You can only make 1 attack with this weapon this phase, but add 1 to the attacker's roll characteristic if the score is hit. The target suffers 2d3 mortal wounds, and the attack subsequently ends. This is Adeptus Astartes infantry shooting against the aircraft with a missile launcher. So no longer do you have to buy that, but yeah. Oh my god, why are you almost naked? This is just a top, and I'm wearing jeans. Like, I'm not naked at all. This is actually like 3 articles of clothing right here. Anyway. Smokescreen. Adeptus Astartes War Gear Stratagem. Use the stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase. When selecting an Adeptus Astartes smokescreen unit from your army is selected as the target of an attack until the end of that phase. Each time an attack is made against a unit, subtract 1 from the attacker's hit roll. I feel like that's kind of pointless. Because you're going to be on terrain anyway, so you're already getting the -1 to hit. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that is the end of the stratagems. I gotta say, a lot has changed, and I think the stratagems have gotten worse, but more balanced since 8th edition. So I do like them. Orbital Bombardment is a huge winner in my book. Aspect Scan got nerfed. Tremor Shells got a bit nerfed. Shock and Awe seems weird. Melta Bombs is incredible. I really like that. 1 CP for a Melta Bomb is pretty nice. Let's see. Grab Pulse is the repulsor's ability to -2. So it used to just be a static ability. Now it's just a now it's a command point. I don't really like that. I think that's kind of yeah. Hellfire Shot is better, but got nerfed. I feel like all of the stratagems got nerfed. I really feel like they all got nerfed. Because it's like Transhuman Physiology, which was one of the best stratagems that they have, is just okay now. Now it only affects Primers. Rapid Fire only only affects intercessor squads or veteran intercessor squads, which is okay. Genroth Might is only on Primers. Only in death does duty end. You can't attack if you already attacked. So if your character, if you charge with your character, he died. You charged with your character, you made your attacks, you died. Nothing you can do about it, so that's a huge nerf. Armor of Contempt is only against mortal wounds. I didn't really like that. Machine Spirit is pretty much useless. Wisdom of the Ancients is now just an ability for 1 CP. I don't really like it as much. Marines are kind of, they balanced out their stratagems. So, yeah, a lot of their stratagems took a nerf, but I think it was absolutely necessary for all of these nerfs to come in. But that Orbital Bombardment is so good. Like, I think that's the winner in here. Is the fact that you just place this over an objective and your opponent has to just get automatically D3 wounds or D6 wounds, or you roll a 1 and nothing happens. But your opponent has to choose whether or not they want to take those D3 mortal wounds. Now, if they're another Marine player, or, well, regardless of their loyalty, they can take those D3 mortal wounds and just be like, whatever. But if they're like a more elitist army, they might just want to be like, no, let's fall back from it and give up that objective. So now we move on to Warlord Traits. We have, yeah, a lot to go over. This video is going to be about 3 hours long. I am so sorry. Again, I'm sorry about my throat being so dry. It sucks, but it is. So, Space Marine Warlord Traits. We have 6 for this, and Vanguard Warlord Traits as well. So if you're in Phobos Army, you get different Warlord Traits. So, let's dive into this. There's also Chapter Warlord Traits, and that's it. So it's really weird that the chapters all just share 6 Warlord Traits. And then I'm assuming their own chapters will give them Warlord Traits. Yeah. So, starting with number 1, Fear Made Manifest. It's an aura ability. When an enemy unit is within 6 inches of your warlord, subtract 1 from their leadership characteristic. Each time the combat attrition test is taken, subtract 1 from that combat attrition test. That's actually good. I know this is going to sound weird, but the combat test on 1 person, that's 2 that they're taking, because they're minusing 1 leadership. The average leadership in 40k is 8, so down to 7. The average leadership test taken in 40k is 8, so it goes down to 7. And then if they took 3 losses, so that's 3 plus the d6 roll, the average is 4 on a d6. I know that sounds weird, but it is. That's already 7, so that's a fail. Automatically. Not automatically, it's a statistical chance of failure. So it's not bad, especially if you put it on like a Chaplain Dreadnought, who I think innately has the ability to -1 because of his Warlord ability. Or if you do the actual builds with minusing leadership. It really depends upon your opponent, but I do feel that leadership tests are more important this edition. In fact, I lost an entire unit to leadership tests that were Marines. So, just saying, I think it's actually important. The Emperor's Sword. This is the sword Gilliman uses, for all of you wondering. You can reroll charge rolls made for this Warlord. Incredible. Let's see. Each time your Warlord fights, if it made a charge move or performed a heroic intervention this turn, then until that fight is resolved, add 1 to strength and attack characteristics. That's actually really good. It's really funny that it's a charged heroic intervene. It's not if it was charged. Weird. Iron Resolve. Add 1 to the Warlord's wound characteristics. Each time the Warlord loses a wound, roll d6. On a 6, that wound is not lost. I don't like taking the chance of a 6+, feel no pain. It's personally me. If my whole army gets it, that's fine. That's a different thing. But if just one guy gets it, kind of a risk. They don't run away or flee. It's a tactical retreat. No, they run away like cowardly little... Champions of Humanity. Each time this warlord fights, if it is within engagement range of an enemy character unit, then until that fight is resolved, add 1 to the warlord's attack characteristics. Each time your warlord makes a melee attack against a character unit, add 1 to the attacker's wound roll, hit roll, and wound roll. Now this does stack with the Blood Angels one, so you can actually have a sword that's strength 5, wounding a marine on a 2. Yeah, that is crazy. That is 100% crazy. Storm of Fire, Aura ability. When a friendly chapter core unit is within 6 inches of this warlord, each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack, an unmodified wound roll of a 6 improves the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. It's okay. Use that if you're running Imperial Fists or Crimson Fists. Let's see. Rites of Battle, Aura ability. When a friendly chapter core unit or chapter character unit is within 6 inches of the warlord, it has objectives secured. See the core rulebook for OPSAC. That's pretty good. A character with... No, because then he would be outnumbered. So he'd still lose it. So it's almost good. I don't think it's that good. Personally, I think Fear Made Manifest is a winner this game, this time around. I like Iron Resolve. I like the Imperium Sword. But that's about it. Storm of Fire is good depending on your build. So then we have the Vanguard Warlord traits, which are always kind of embarrassing. Shoot and Fade. Use once per turn in your shooting phase after shooting with the friendly character Phobos unit within 6 inches of this warlord. That unit can make a normal move, or it can advance. In either case, if it does so, the unit is not eligible to declare a charge with it this turn. Pretty much worthless. After once per turn in your shooting phase, so it appears at the end of the movement phase, then it can shoot, and then it can make a normal move away. I don't think that's good. I'd rather try to make the charge. Lord of Deceit. After both players have destroyed their armies, after both players have deployed their armies, select up to 3 chapter Phobos units from your army and redeploy them. If the mission is using strategic reserves, you can place 1. They can be placed into strategic reserve without having to spend any additional CP, regardless of how many units are already in strategic reserve. If both players have the ability to redeploy, roll off, the winner redeploys their units first. I'm not mad. Wait, I'm actually not upset at all. Like, I think some of these are terrible, but most of them aren't. Like, I'm not mad. I think Space Marines needed the nerf. Master of Vanguard, Aura ability. When a friendly chapter Phobos unit is within 6 inches of your warlord, add 1 to the charge unit. The charge is made for that unit. That's really good. Each time that unit is selected to make a normal move, advance or fall back, add 1 to their movement characteristic. That's pretty good. That's probably the best. Yeah, that's probably the best for them that I'm going to say. Stealthy Adept. Unless the warlord is the closest eligible target, enemy models cannot target it with ranged attacks. Okay, that's all right. That's kind of bad. Priority target. In your command phase, you can select 1 friendly chapter Phobos unit within 6 inches of your warlord. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a model in that unit would make a ranged attack, add 1 to that target's attack rolls. It's alright. Add 1 to and the last one is Marksman. Add 1 to the damage characteristic of ranged weapons if this Warlord is equipped with, excluding grenades and relics. So the only good Phobos one is probably Master of the Vanguard, and that's it. I personally wouldn't take the Vanguard Warlord traits because I see them as kind of bad. Like, very bad. Anything useful for Space Wolves, or am I going to be waiting? Actually, Space Wolves are incredible. They don't have their blood claws, so that's a thing. They don't have their... Yeah. Sorry, stretching. There we go. So, going into the specific chapter Warlord traits, we have the Dark Angels, the White Scars, Space Wolves, Imperial Fists, Crimson Fists, Black Templar, Blood Angels, Flesh Terrors, Iron Hands, Ultramarine, Salamanders, Raven Guard, Deathwatch. Okay, are we ready to get into this? Brilliant Strategist is the Dark Angel one. In your command phase, you can select one friendly Dark Angel unit within 6 inches of your Warlord. Until the start of your next command phase, if the Tactical Doctrine is activated... Why is my phone going off? Is activated for your army, then each time a model in that unit makes an attack with the Devastator... the Devastated Doctrine is considered to be active for those attacks instead. Holy crap, Dark Angels are terrifying. If the Assault Doctrine is active for your army, then each time a model in that unit makes an attack, the Tactical Doctrine is considered to be active for the attacks instead. Dark Angels are terrifying. So this means the first and second turn, I get Devastated Doctrine with Dark Angels, who have the best plasma in the entire game. That's honestly insane. Wow. Damn. Also, Grey Knights are lucky not to be in this book. It's a huge nerf. Grey Knights are incredible right now. They don't have 2 wounds, but who the hell cares? White Scars. After your Warlord makes a charge move, you can select one enemy unit within 1 inch of it, and roll 1d6. On a 2+, the unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Worthless. Space Wolves, Beast Slayer. When this Warlord is within engagement range of an enemy monster or vehicle, add 1 to the attack characteristics. Pretty good. Each time your Warlord makes an attack against a monster or vehicle unit, add 1 to the attack characteristics, and add 1 to the attacker's wound roll. So for a second, he becomes a Blood Angel, which is pretty good. Pretty good, not great so far. Dark Angels are definitely the winner of the Warlord abilities. Imperial Fists, Architects of War. When a friendly Imperial Fist core unit is that is receiving the benefits of cover is within 6 inches of this Warlord, each time an attack with an armor penetration characteristic of -1 is allocated to that model's unit, the attack has an armor penetration characteristic of 0 instead. Kind of worthless, considering you'll be on terrain regardless. So, kind of worthless. Crimson Fist, Refuse to Die. The first time your Warlord is destroyed, you can choose to re-roll 1d6 at the... You can choose to roll 1d6 at the end of that phase instead of using any rules that are triggered when a model is destroyed, i.e. only in Adeptus Duty End Stratagem, page 102. If you do, roll a 4+... If you do, then roll a 4+ to set your Warlord back up on the battlefield as close as possible as to where they were destroyed. Oh, wow, I like how they use they, a gender-neutral pronoun. Anyway, and 1 inch away from any enemy model with D3 wounds remaining. Pretty good. If your Chapter Master dies, you just go no and come back to life. Now remember, that D6 for determining whether or not you can come back to life, you cannot re-roll with a command point. So this Refuse to Die may not even work. So your Warlord has no ability. Just keep that in mind before you select it. Okay, Black Templars, Oathkeeper. I bet this is as bad as their army. This Warlord is eligible to perform a heroic intervention if it is 6 inches horizontal and 5 inches vertical from any enemy unit. Each time your Warlord makes a heroic intervention move, it can move up to 6 inches instead of 3. All other rules for heroic intervention still apply, completely useless. especially for an assault army. I guess if you're a counter-assault army, that's kind of cool, but overall, it's kind of pointless. Blood Angels, Speed of the Primarch, which you would think that would be White Scars since they were known for speed, but not the Blood Angels. They were known for rapid deployment, but not speed. I know that sounds weird, but yeah. At the start of the fight phase, if your Warlord is within engagement range of an enemy unit, it can fight first that phase. That's really good. You don't have to spend command points to reroll. That's just good. It's not great. It's not amazing. It's pretty good. I guess it's... Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's okay. Yeah, it's pretty good. Alright, let's keep going. Flesh Terrors. Merciless Butchers. Each time your Warlord fights, if there are 5 or more enemy models within 3 inches of it, it can make D3 additional attacks. It's really good. I just never thought of Iron Hands as a close combat army. Mostly just a point-and-click and things die army. Oh wait, nope, sorry, that's Flesh Terrors. That makes a lot more sense then. My bad. Iron Hands, Adept of the Omnissiah. At the end of your movement phase, unless your Warlord is a Tech Marine, it can repair one... Unless this Warlord is a Tech Marine, it can repair one friendly Iron Hands vehicle model within 1 inch of it. That vehicle model regains 1 lost wound. Each model can only be repaired once per turn. If your Warlord is a Tech Marine, then each time it uses its Blessing of the Omnissiah ability, that model is regains D3 plus 1 lost wounds instead of D3. That's honestly incredible. You can repair Leviathans and keep them alive the entire game. Alright, Ultramarines, Adept of the Codex. When your Warlord is on a battlefield, each time you spend a command point to use on a stratagem, you can roll a d6. On a 5+, the command point is refunded. Honestly, utility is always good. Utility is always good. Just saying. You can only regain 1 command point per battle round, but still it's pretty decent that you're not spending one. So, there you go. So if you spend it on Orbital Bombardment, which is 3, you roll all 3 of them, you gain, 1 of them is a 5, you gain 1 point. If 3 of them are a 5, you gain 1 point. But that's it. It's just gaining 1 point and that's it. 1 command point. Salamanders. Add 2 to the strength characteristic of this Warlord. Okay. And if he's using a sword, that's pretty decent. Because a power sword adds +1, so he's strength 7. If he's using any type of relic, it stacks with the relic. If he's using a Power Fist, he goes up to Strength 10, which is really, really, really good. Because Strength times 2 is Strength 8, plus 2 is 10. Raven Guards, Echo of the Ravenspire. Oh my god, can you really... You know, you might as well just call your ability Burb of the Burb. Anyway, once per battle at the end of your movement phase, this Warlord can vanish into the gloom. God, that's edgy. If it is more than 6 inches from an enemy model. If it does so, remove it from the battlefield, and then in the reinforcement step of your subsequent movement phase, set up your Warlord anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from an enemy model. If the battle ends with your Warlord not on the battlefield, it is destroyed. Also, I think somebody just came in to just knock on my door. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry for that. We might have a friend come over. Anyway. So, your burb can flap his wings, fly away, and then redeploy somewhere else next turn. Is it good? Not really. Is it Is it okay? Actually, it's pretty good for gaining command. No, because you'd have to gain the points at the beginning of the command phase when you deploy at the end of the movement phase. So, is it actually good? Hum, hum. I don't actually think this is that good. The redeployment is pretty good, but you can't grab an objective with it because you appear at the end of movement phase, and you can't really do too much with it, so I don't know. Deathwatch, Vigilance Incarnate. In your command phase, you can select one friendly Deathwatch core unit within 6 inches of your Warlord. Each time you do, select one battlefield role. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a model in this unit that makes an attack against an enemy unit with that battlefield role, reroll wounds rolls 1. Okay, so if your opponent has a lot of troops and your opponent has a lot of HQs, you can pick both of them and you can reroll ones against them, or you could just be Dark Angels and just do it anyway, because you stood still. Deathwatch kind of suck. Just gonna say it. I'm not impressed with Deathwatch in any way, shape, or form. And somebody also pinged me. Alright. So, out of this, what do I think the winners are? Probably the Ultramarines one, and the Dark Angels one. They both seem like the best. Which is good for me, because I play both Blood Angels. I play both Ultramarines and Dark Angels, so... Well, technically, I have my own custom chapter where I can use any rules, because I painted them in a non-traditional color scheme, so I just go, I feel like playing Dark Angels today. I feel like playing this today. I feel like playing this today, and I can do that. As a Deathwatch player, yeah, but Deathwatch is a big winner since they now have access to a lot of Space Marine toys that they didn't. That is true, but they also are very limited on the amount of stuff that they can take. In fact, I would probably run my Deathwatch as Dark Angels. So next we have the Relics. Oh my god, we're still not even halfway through this book. Should I split this up into 2 videos? Holy cow. I don't think I'm going to be covering the Crusade rules. That's one thing I think everybody else should cover themselves. Yeah. Yeah, custom chapters for the win. Right? Like, why would you not paint your Marines your own custom color and then just be like, I can play anything I want now, including Grey Knights, as long as you give them the proper weapons and war gear. So, there's that. So next we move on to Relics. Relics are only on 1 page, which is, or 2 pages, which is kind of whatever. So we'll have to go through them and see what they can have. What is your custom chapter called? The Sons of Garrow. Alrighty. So I do apologize if you can hear them in the background. You guys know me. I can never have a quiet set. Ever. I don't know why. I just can't. Yeah. Yeah, they're going to be loud. Okay. If your army is led by an Adeptus Society's Warlord, when mustering your army, you can give a chapter relic to one guy. I will be right back. Okay, again, sorry for that. So, the Armor Indominus. I feel like you need to say that with, like, pompous and, like, puff out your chest and be like, yeah, Armor Indominus. Or talk like any lore YouTuber where they overemphasize words to try to make it sound way more epic than it is, and you're just like, you're talking about toys. Anyway, I'm sorry. That's just me taking a shot at lore YouTubers. I love them to death. Don't worry. The Armor Indominus. Add 1 to the wound characteristics of the bearer. The bearer has a saving throw of 2+. Once per battle, before making a saving throw for the bearer, you can activate the armor's force field, and if it does. Then until the end of the phase, the bearer has a 3+ invulnerable save. That's pretty solid. That is 100% a solid piece of war gear. It is just your armor. It doesn't look special. It just, your armor just becomes awesome for a second. And you sit there and you're just like, armor and dominance. And you have a 2+ save, which is also really good. The Shield Eternal. This is a blast from the past. The Shield Eternal used to be so broken back in 6th edition. If you didn't run the Shield Eternal, you ran the Gorgon's Chain. And if you guys know anything that I am saying right now, you know that 6th edition was not balanced in any way, shape, or form, nor was 7th edition. And 7th edition almost ended my career in 40k. By the way, I was playing tournaments back in 5th, 6th, and 7th. The Shield Eternal, a model with a Storm Shield, Relic Shield, Combat Shield only. The Relic replaces the Storm Shield, Relic Shield, or Combat Shield. It's kind of funny that you can just take a 5-point Combat Shield and just be like, aha, it's better. Hey, I liked 7th edition. Oh, I'm sure you're a masochist. Anyway, moving on. The bearer has a 4+ info save. Add 1 to the saving throw made for the bearer. Each time the bearer would lose a wound on a 6+, the result is a 5+ feel no pain. Yeah. It was the last time Tyranids got any love. No, they didn't. Just stop lying to yourself. You played 7 Hive Tyrants and that was it. I played Tyranids competitively back in the day. I'm just messing with you, don't worry. Shield Eternal is pretty good. 5+ feel no pain, 2+ save normally. So, yeah. Why is my hair not staying where I want it to? It's super, like, you see these little strands of hair that are just falling and making my life miserable? Oh my god, they just won't stop. Look at this. Look at this right here. Right here. This is driving me bananas, actually. Which sucks is I have, like, hairspray and everything in my hair, so it's like, super annoying. Whatever. 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 There we go. Okay. Standard of the Emperor Ascended. An ancient model only. At 3 inches to the range of the bearer's aura abilities. Each time a morale test is taken for a chapter core unit within range of the bearer, you can reroll that test. Which is okay. That's okay. Alrighty. Teeth of Terra. Model equipped with an Astartes Chainsword only. I love the Teeth of Terra, by the way. I think it is a fantastic weapon. Did they stop making metal marines? Yes. Long hair problems. Oh my god, you are right. Okay. The Teeth of Terra is a model with an Astartes Chainsword. You get rid of that crap and give them the Teeth of Terra. It's a melee weapon with strength +1, so strength 5, AP -2, and 2 damage. Each time the bearer fights, make 3 additional attacks with this weapon. I feel like it should be AP -3. I really feel like it should be AP -3. AP -2 isn't great, but Assault Doctrine can make that AP -3. Depending on the chapter you go with, you can get AP -4 on it. It's only strength 5. So you really have to combine it with the Warlord trait to make it good, but then you're giving up a Warlord trait. Teeth of Terror is okay. It's like a fun attack weapon. Each time the bearer fights, it makes 3 additional attacks with this weapon. So it fights once at 3 + 5, 6, 7, 8. It has 8 attacks, though. That's really good. +1 for the charge, so 9 attacks. Yeah, that's fairly decent. The Primarch's Wrath. It's a bolt gun. It replaces a bolt gun, depending on whatever bolt gun it is. Rapid fire 2, strength 5, AP -2, 2 damage. So just the same as the Teeth of Terror, except it sucks way worse. It's borderline completely useless hard garbage. Okay, moving on from that hard garbage. We have the Burning Blade, which I don't know why you would take the Teeth of Terror over, since the Burning Blade is just better. The Burning Blade is strength +3, so strength 7, AP -5, and 2 damage. I personally love the Burning Blade. I think it's a fantastic weapon. It turns your normal guy into an anything killer. It replaces a power weapon or a mastercrafted or blah 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 power weapon. So yeah. So You're also gaining +1 strength, +2 attacks, -1 AP, and 1 damage for that relic slot, right? Compared to a regular chainsword. Yeah, it's pretty good for a chainsword. Like, it's a no-point upgrade, so it's pretty decent. Like, I'm not saying the Teeth of Terror is bad, and I'm not saying the Burning Blade is bad. They're both really good relics. I like both of them for melee captain. Like, if you're building a Smash captain, try going with the Burning Blade ones. Try going with the Teeth of Terror ones. Because Thunderhammers are no longer good. Okay. The Purgatus, which is weird that they got this and not the sisters. 18-inch pistol, 3, strength 5, AP -3, 2 damage. It's a 3-shot pistol. I never take the pistol weapons. I'm sorry, I just don't. I really don't. New to the game, what's the difference between the Codex versus the Collector's Edition Codex? Thank you. Cover. That's it. And sometimes you get some special stuff and it's signed. If it's super special. Okay, so next we have the Reliquary of Gathalamor. Primers model only, the bearer has the following abilities. The Reliquary of Gathamor, Aura. Whilst the enemy Psyker unit is within 18 inches of the bearer, subtract 1 from the psychic test taken for that unit, and each time a psychic test is failed for that unit, roll 1d6 on a 4+, they suffer d3 mortal wounds. So if you know you're going up against Psykers, which this is 9th edition, so you are, then yeah. Thunderhammers have become crap, and I've got a full Space Wolf army, 5-ish K, with Thunderhammers. Please send help. Well, it also means that you have a full giant amount of bits that you can just chop those Thunderhammers off and give them proper weapons. In fact, what you could do is cut their hands off at the wrist, drill a little bit into their wrist, put a magnet, and magnetize all of their weapons using a piece of metal. There you go. You're welcome. I just helped you. Okay, the Bellicose Bolt Rifle. Model with a bolt rifle or a mass-crafted bolt rifle. I've replaced that. 24-inch assault 4, strength 5, AP -1, 2 damage. It's a gun weapon. I'm not a big fan of gun weapons. I'd much rather get up to my opponent and punch him in the face, but that's just me. Lament. Replaces a mass-crafted stock bolt rifle only. The Lament is 36 inches, heavy 1, strength 5, AP -2, 3 damage. Each time an attack is made for this weapon, with this weapon, if the attack successfully wounds the targets, inflict 1 mortal wound on the target, in addition to any normal damage. It's crap. Moving on. Ghostwave Cloak. Phobos model with Camel Cloak only. Each time the bearer makes a normal move, advanced moves, or falls back, it can move across models as though they were not there. Each time the attack is made against the bearer, subtract 1 from the attacker's hit roll. So, it's okay. It's alright. It's pretty good. So, yeah. The Tome of Malkador. Librarian model only. The bearer knows 1 additional psychic power from this discipline it has access to. It's pretty decent. Let's see. Benediction of Fury. Chaplain model only. Relic replaces the Crozius Arcanum with the following profile. It's a melee weapon with +2 strength, so strength 6. AP -2, D3, just 3 damage. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, an unmodified wound roll of a 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target, in addition to any normal damage. Kind of worthless. The Honored Vehement. The bearer has the following abilities. It's an aura ability. When a friendly chapter core unit is within 6 inches of the bearer, each time the unit fights, the unit that fights is resolved, adds 1 to the attack characteristic of models in that unit. This attack is not cumulative with any additional abilities, any additional attack granting by shock assault. So, it's kind of worthless. And the last one is Primers model only, add 3 inches to the range of the bearer's aura abilities to a maximum of 9. This does not increase the range of aura abilities that are psychic powers. So, winners here, I think, is going to be the last one. The one that increases aura abilities. The Shield Eternal, the Armor Indominus, and the Shard of the Emperor's Ascendant, I think, are really good. The Teeth of Terror is fun for close combat. The Burning Blade is good for making a multi-purpose captain, like a smash captain, especially now when considering that Thunderhammers are pretty much useless. The rest of them kind of suck. The Tome of Malkador is really cool if you're running a Librarian. But other than that, I wouldn't waste my time on any of the other relics. The Armor Indominus, Shield Eternal, Standard of the Emperor Ascendant, and the Vox Espertorum. Espetum? Whatever that one is. Those four, pretty good. 2 combat weapons, pretty good. Holy cow, we have Librarian Disciplines. I feel like I want to get these to you in another time, because I hate Librarians. Which is funny, because I never bring them, because I bring Space Marines with no Librarians. I bring, yeah, a whole bunch of stuff. They're finally balanced with the weapons. Do we need... How many points there now? Thunderhammers, it depends on the model that takes them. Because, yeah, they're kind of all over the place. So let me take a look real quick. Thunderhammers here are 15 points. Thunderhammers here are 20 points for captains. Thunderhammers for captains on bikes are 20. Thunderhammers for lieutenants are 20. Character Thunderhammers are 20. Looks like the normal ones are 15. Yep, it's that way across the entire board. So I'm going to go ahead and skip the Librarian Disciplines, because I really don't like Librarians. I know I shouldn't, and I should go over them, but I really don't like Space Marine Librarians. I mean, the ones that you take is Might of Heroes and Null Zone. So let me at least read those. Alright, let me go over them. Fine, I'll go over them. Veil of Time, Blessing, has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select the one friendly chapter unit within 18 inches of the psyker. Until the start of your next psychic phase, you can re-roll advanced rolls and charge rolls made for that unit. Until the start of your next psychic phase, if the unit starts the fight phase within engagement range of an enemy unit, it fights first that phase. Pretty decent, actually. Especially being that you can do that and then have the ability to go first. So you have 2 units with the ability to go first no matter what any other abilities that your opponent has. So Slaanesh Armies getting hit twice first is going to hurt them quite a bit. Might of Heroes is a blessing with a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one chapter core unit or chapter character model within 12 inches of the psyker. Until the start of the next psychic phase, add 1 to the model's strength and toughness and attack characteristics. If it has more than 1 toughness characteristic, use the lowest toughness characteristic when resolving any rules. Weird that they put that in parentheses, but essentially just adds 1 to strength, toughness, and attack. Just really good. Might of Heroes is amazing. You cast it on a Librarian Dreadnought, you cast it on a Chaplain Dreadnought, and you rush it at your opponent as quickly as possible. Or you cast it on a Smash Captain and throw him at your opponent, especially if he has the Burning Blade. Because then he goes with Strength 8 with an AP -5 weapon that scores 2 damage per hit. So, with a ton of attacks. So he's had 6 attacks then, 7 attacks for charge. 7 attacks? Hell yeah, that's really good. Is there any point in taking Thunderhammers without Storm Shields? Yeah, Thunderhammer kind of sucks. It's only AP -2 damage. Null Zone. Warp Charge. It's an aura ability. The warp charge value of 7. Until the start of the next psychic phase, while the unit is within 6 inches of the psyker, each time an attack is made against the unit, invulnerable saves throws cannot be made against those attacks. Until the start of your next psychic phase, while an enemy psyker unit was within 6 inches of the psyker, have the total psychic power test taken within 6 inches of that psyker. Have the total of the psychic test taken for that unit. That's actually really good. But a warp charge value of 7 is much better than a warp charge value of 9. So, Might of Heroes and Null Zone. Those are the 2 psychics you're going to be Those are the 2 psychic powers you're going to be casting. That's it. Psychic Scourge is a Witchfire, you don't want it. Fury of the Ancients is a Witchfire, you don't want it. And the Blessing, you just want Might of Heroes and Null Zone. It's really that simple. Litanies of Battle. So these replace the current litanies, and now we don't have chapter litanies yet anymore. Which makes me sad, because I really liked March for Crag, and I used it quite a bit. So it kind of sucks that it's gone. So Litany of Hate is the base one, if this litany is inspiring. God, I hate that. If this litany is inspiring, then while a friendly chapter core, chapter character unit is within 6 inches of the psyker, of the priest, sorry, my bad. Each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, you can reroll the failed hit. You can reroll the hit roll. Okay, then you have Litany of Battle as an aura. It affects characters and core alike. If it's within 6 inches of the priest, each time that model in that unit would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, you can roll d6 and a 5+, it is not lost. Catechism of Fire. If this litany is inspiring, select one friendly chapter core unit or chapter character unit within 6 inches of the priest. Each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack against the closest eligible target, add 1 to the attacker's wound roll. That's actually pretty good. Number 3 is Rage. If this litany is inspiring, select one friendly chapter core unit or chapter character unit within 6 inches of the priest. Each time a model in that unit would make a melee attack, add 1 to the attacker's wound roll. So wait, did I read that? Wound roll. Wait, what? Why is this one just better than that one? Wait, what? Why is Rage more... What? Oh, melee attack versus ranged. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. I was so confused for a second. Okay. Mantra of Strength. Add 1 to the priest's attack and strength characteristic. Add 1 to the damage characteristic of melees that the priest had. Melee weapons that the priest has. This one's really good on the Chaplain Dreadnought, by the way. Because you throw it on him. He's got Strength 11. I think 3 to 4 damage per hit, so he becomes ridiculously good. Focus is number 5. If this litany is inspiring, select one chapter core or character unit within 6 inches of the priest. Each time a model in this unit would make a ranged attack, add 1 to the attacker's hit roll. Canticle of Hate is the last one. If this litany is inspiring when taking a while a friendly chapter core or chapter priest character unit is within 6 inches of the priest, add 2 to the charge roll made for that unit. This is not cumulative. Each time a model in that unit makes a pile in, it can move up to 3 inches. This is not cumulative. So there we go. Personally, I would probably stick with the Litany of Hate, and then I'd probably go with the Mantra of Strength, or the Mantra of Strength, to give to, because I run my Chaplain as a Chaplain Dreadnought. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people. But I run him with a Plasma Cannon, if that makes you feel better. Not a Twin-Link Glass Cannon, because I'm not a jerk. So then we move on to the Chapter-Approved Rules, which is really weird. If every model in your army, excluding an agent of the Imperium or unaligned model, has the Adeptus Astartes keyword, and your Warlord has the Adeptus Astartes keyword, you can, if you're playing a matched play game, matched play battle that has instructions you select in secondary objectives, blah, 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 blah. You can select the ones from here. Select one of them. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, so we got 3 different tactical objectives, secondary objectives we can choose. So the first one is Purge the Enemy. It's Codex Warfare. It's an end-of-game objective. If you select this objective, you score victory points as following. Score 1 victory point at the end of battle to a maximum of 5 victory points for each enemy unit that was destroyed as a result of an attack made with a heavy or grenade weapon by an Adeptus Astartes unit from your army while the Devastated Doctrine was active. Ugh, that's actually tough. Because you're only going to be killing like 1 or 2 things with the Devastated Doctrine turn 1. That means you have to like try to table your opponent as quickly as possible. Score 1 victory point at the end of the battle to a maximum of 5 victory points. If an enemy unit that was destroyed as a result of an attack made with a rapid fire or assault weapon. And then I'm assuming the other one is pistol or melee. Yep. So at most you're scoring maximum of 5. You're only scoring about 3 each time, so 9 points. That's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty good. Considering now that I play more, you're looking at those 6-point objectives with like awe because you can get those. Battlefield Supremacy, Shock Tactics, score 3 victory points at the end of battle rounds if you control 1 or more objective markers that were controlled by your opponent at the start of the battle round, and if the Adeptus starters unit from your army is within range of the objective marker. So that's actually pretty good. My opponent has a command point, has an objective. I kill him off of it. I get it. And then this one is No Mercy, No Respite. This is a Oath of Moment. This is Oath of Moment, progressive objective. If you select this objective, you score more victory points at the end of each battle round for achieving the following 3 oaths. Get it? Because they're Space Wolves. Huh? Get it? Okay. Oath of Valor. Score 1 victory point if any characters, vehicles, or monsters units destroyed by the Adeptus Astartes unit in your army during the battle round. Honor the Oath of Honor. Score 1 victory point at the end of the battle. Round, so long as no Adeptus Astartes units from your army fail the morale test. Really good for Ultramarines, by the way. Providing no Adeptus Astartes units fell back during the turn. And Oath of Duty. Score 2 victory points at the end of the battle round. If an Adeptus Astartes unit from your army is wholly within 6 inches of the center of the battlefield. That actually seems like a pretty easy one to get. Yeah. So that's the 3 chapter approved rules. I'm not going to go over the Crusade rules because I haven't played Crusade yet. And I think since this video has been going on for almost 2.5 hours, I think I'm going to stop before I go over each of these guys. Because I've been going at this for quite some time. So, if you guys have any particular questions, there's 87 of you right now. If you guys have any particular questions about certain units, now is the time to ask. What are your thoughts on Scouts as an elite choice? Makes sense. They were dirt cheap troop choices that everybody took in tournaments and broke the game with. So it makes a lot more sense that they're elite choices. Also, they're an elite choice in the Space Wolves anyway, so it really makes sense that they're an elite choice. Let's see. Rich Dream, thank you. So guys, ask questions right now. As many as you can get out. We'll go through each and every single one of these things. Because I'm actually excited. Have aggressors changed? Okay, so let's go over to aggressors. I like how the guy's like, my time has come. Alright, so aggressors. Let me find them really quickly. Aggressors. They can go up to 6 people in a squad. They can move 5 inches. They have a toughness of 5, wounds of 3, leadership 7 to 8, 3+ save. All their weapons are pretty much the same. They don't have any special rules anymore. Oh, that's actually bad. They don't have any special rules. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, that attacks automatically scores a hit. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, subtract 1. Yeah, no, they don't double their shots anymore. Oh. Oh, that's bad. They don't double their shots anymore. Okay, let's see. We're going to try to answer as many of these as possible. As possibles? I don't know. We're trying to answer. Let's see. Any change to Deathwing veterans, namely those that still fall back and shoot if they include Vanguard. They're not even in this book. The Deathwatch troop choices are just not in this book at all. So, have fun knowing that. Thank you for reading this to us. I fell asleep to your reading. Oh. Do you think custom chapters will be competitive? Yes. Are all Marines getting 2 wounds? Yes, even baby Marines have 2 wounds. In fact, except for Scouts. Scouts do not have 2 wounds, they only have 1 wound. They're not a fully started check, they have to grow up first. Okay. Chapter litanies are gone. Is that confirmed or assumed? They are not in this book. They are not in Codex Space Marines. There are no unique chapter litanies. Okay? Have I shaken this book enough to prove a point? I feel like I have. Anyway. Okay, so let's see. Well, I've got so many elites now, right? Got here late, so are there any changes, weapon changes that might affect sisters? Yeah, power swords. Going up +1 strength is probably the biggest. Heavy bolters being 2 damage. Basically, all the weapons that affected Space Marines are going to affect Sisters of Battle and Chaos alike. So there's that. Are these new codexes replacing Psychic Awakening or setting alongside them? GW has been really weird about that. They haven't said yes or no, so it's weird. I don't know. Do Ancient Banners still have the same rules as before? Okay, let's take a look. So the Blade Guard Ancient has Ancient Banner Aura, affects chapter core units within 6 inches of this model, adds 1 to the leadership characteristic of that model. In addition, each time a model in such a unit is destroyed by an attack made by an enemy unit, roll a d6 on a 4+. Do not remove the destroyed unit model from play. It can, after the attacking model has finished making its attacks, either shoot with one of its ranged weapons, as if it were a shooting phase, or make one attack with a melee weapon, as though it were the 5 phase. After resolving the attacks, destroy the model and it is removed. Deeds of Heroism as an aura, affects chapter Blade Guard units only. Within 6 inches of this model, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to the attack roll. Deathwing, it has the Deathwing keyword. Wolfguard has the Wolfguard keyword. So that's what that one does. And the Ancient, the regular one, one of the biggest changes that I saw was this, actually. Relic Terminator squads. They are just Cataphractii and Tartaros. They're just in there. So I'm trying to find the chapter Ancient really quickly for you, but I can't because I am bad at this forever. I thought all the Ancients would be kept next to each other. That was foolish of me. Oh yeah, they are all next to each other. They all have pretty much the same abilities. Company squad for each chapter. Company veteran includes this detachment. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's just slightly rules change, but nothing major. And the Primers Ancient just has the Astartes banner, so same thing as all of them. They all have the same abilities, except the Blade Guard Ancient affects Blade Guard, and that's it. Okay, so points drop. They're pretty much the same as the FAQ. Are these new codexes replacing Psychic Awakening? We already read that. Do Deathwing is a Deathwing successor a thing? According to this book, yes. But again, remember, rules are not lore. Lore is not rules. They are not connected in any way whatsoever in anything. Do not think that they are. This confirms my lore suspicion. No, stop it. The lore section stops at page 90. That's when lore stops. Okay? What do you think will happen to Grey Knight Paladins with the wound changes? Do you think they'll get 4? No. To be honest, no. I'm really hoping they go to Toughness 5, but I know that that's a pipe dream at this point. Are the captains in Gravis armor on the datasheet? So how they do that is the same way they do everything now. So the only different one is the Primers Captain, and then as you can see, all the captains have Captain and then blank, Captain and blank. So you can only ever bring one type of captain per detachment. This is the same with the Captain in Terminate armor, Captain in Gravis armor, regular Captain. Also, the captain on a bike. This is the same with the Primers Lieutenant. All the lieutenants are pretty much the same, where it's lieutenant in normal armor, lieutenant in Reaver armor, lieutenant in Phobos armor, and same with the librarians as well. Reavers are the new scouts. Let's take a look. Are Reavers the new scouts? So, for troop choices, we have the Intercessor Squad, the Assault Intercessor Squad, the Heavy Intercessor Squad, the Infiltrators, the Incursors, the Tactical, and that's it. So, Reaver squads are not there. So you have the Incursor squads, which are essentially your new scouts, and the Infiltrators. So what units in the book have the core keyword? I can tell you some that don't. Let's see, the Company Champion is not core. The Scout Squads are. The Apothecaries are not. Characters are not core, is the easier way of saying this. Terminators are core. Veteran Intercessors are core. Blade Guard Veterans are core. Company Veterans are core. Vanguard Veterans are core. Stern Guard Veterans are core. Judicators are not. Reaver Squads are core. Aggressor Squads are core. Terminators are core. Terminator Assault Squads are core. Relic Terminators are core. Centurion Squads are not core. Invictor Tactical War Suits are not core. Dreadnoughts are core, regardless of which ones they are. So Dreadnought, Contemptor, Venerable, and Ironclad. Ironclad also got a huge boost, by the way. His Seismic Hammer is now Strength times 2, AP minus 4, 5 damage, instead of the older damage. So I think he's actually going to be same play. Redemptor Dreadnought is core. Assault Squad is core. Outriders are core. Invader ATV squads are not core. Bike squads are core. Scout bikes are core. Attack bike squad is core. Suppressor squads are core. Inceptor squads are core. Storm speeders are not. Land speeders are not. Also, they brought back the Land Speeder Tornado and Typhon, Typhoons, which I really like. They give them back their full names. Hellblasters are core. Eliminators are core. Centurions are not core. Eradicators are core. Devastators are core. Thunderfire Cannons are not core. Fire Strike Servo Turrets are not core. They do have a movement characteristic of 3 inches. Hunters are not core. Stalkers are not core. Whirlwinds are not core. Predator Destructors are not core. Predator Annihilators are not core. Gladiuses are not core, regardless of their variants. Land Raiders are not core. Vindicators are not core. Crusaders are not core. Redeemers are not core. Repulsors are not core. Would have guessed. Executioners are not core. Rhinos are not core. Razorbacks are not core. Impulsors are not core. Drop pods are not core. Landspeeder Storms are not core. Stormhawk Intercessors are not core. Storm Talon gunships are not core. Storm Raven gunships are not core. And the Hellfall Bunker is not core and is completely useless, by the way. It is just complete and utter garbage. Okay, back to the beginning. So that answers that question. What's the Veteran Intercessor data sheet? It is on page... Let's see. It is on page... It's right after this. It's on page 149, and I, for the life of me, can't spot a difference aside from leadership and number of attacks. They have 3 attacks and 4 attacks with the Sergeant, and they can switch between Astartes Chainswords. They can be the Assault Intercessors or the Shooty Intercessors, but they all must select the same weapons, except for the Sergeant, who can have, like, Thunderhammers, Thunderhammer, Power Fist, Chainsword, or Power Sword. So that's it. Okay. Are Intercessors now 3 wounds? No, I don't believe so. Let me check. I think Heavy Intercessors are, but again, let's check. I gotta flip through this book really quickly. Intercessors are 2 wounds, 2 attacks. Heavy Intercessors are 3 wounds, a toughness 5. Okay. Let's see. I just want to know how much is 1 extra toughness and 1 armor better armor save worth comparing to custodians. Custodians will always be better, to be honest. Do I get a D6 advance with the Fire Strike? No, it can't move. Actually, wait, the Fire Strike, do you mean the... No, that's the Sky Hammer. I think it actually can advance, the Fire Strike. Yeah. Also the Twin Last Talon, which is pretty cool. 24-inch, heavy 4, strength 9, AP minus 3, D6 damage. Or the Twin Accelerator Autocannon, which is what I think they're going to be using, which is heavy 6, strength 7, AP 1, 2 damage. You might actually see the Last Talon. It's pretty nice. And yeah, this thing can advance. Have fun knowing that. Also, the thing that bugs me the most is just how useless this stupid bunker is. Because it's like, Hammerfall. Sounds like it deep strikes. Doesn't deep strike. It just gets set up with your army. It's really, really, really dumb, and I hate it. Have Eradicators stayed the same, rules and points-wise? I don't know about points-wise. I haven't looked through their points just yet. But I can tell you right now. Chaplain, Lieutenant, Primers, Lieutenant, Tech Marine, heavy support, fast attack, Centurion Devastators, some squads. Eliminator squads are 30 points, and the last fuselage is 3. Yeah, they're just 30 points. So they're actually pretty good. I do think that they took a bit of a nerf, but that's about it. They mostly took a nerf because of the Ozspec scam thing. There was a stratagem to deploy it, but yeah, no, I did not read a single stratagem to deploy the Skyfall box at all. I read all the stratagems. There's none that drops this thing in. With the new power, what's with the new power of the Machine Spirit rule? Anything with the ability that has power of the Machine Spirit, which... Oh! Machine Spirit. So that's the Storm Raven gunship and the Land Raiders. And I think the Repulsor might be the Repulsor. Do you have it? Yeah, it's just Land Raiders and the Storm Raven. Do you have it? No. They just treat their wounds as full for the most part. I would have loved to drop that thing and then bring the Imperious Justice to the foe. Any different weapon loadouts for it? No. The thing is just flat out terrible. Like, I wouldn't even bother buying this thing. I just view it as that bad. Especially being that it's 9 power level, so I'm assuming this thing is actually expensive. Let's see. I'm going to assume this thing is expensive. It's 175 points, so it's not too expensive. But at the same time, I do not think it's worth it. Unless you can somehow deploy it as the center of the table, I don't think it's worth it. Let's see. Yeah, I can switch out its heavy bolters for flamers and its gun for a bigger gun, but that's it. Still want to buy it for collection? Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. So, there's so much to this book. There is so much. A lot of the infantry and troop things have already been listed. Yeah. Also, at the back of this book, there is a code you can use to put this book into your Warhammer 40k app if you're using it. So there's that. There's that. Anyway, guys, I am going to wrap up this video here. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Make sure you give this video a like. Make sure the Deathwatch core units. No, there is none. There is none. Anyway, guys, I want to thank everybody for watching and everybody for liking this video and commenting and the live stream for going on as long as it has. Please check out my damn Patreon. Right now, I'm only working 2 days a week. It sucks. And my Patreon just dropped a bit. So I'm a little bit nervous. If you guys have any questions, you can hit me up in my Discord or on any of my social medias. As always, I'm NornQueenAlexis. I love you guys so much. As always,